Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dr. Sid, and you are here live at the Umzansi Esports League Season 3, brought to you by Nordwing Gaming. We are here for some FIFA, and I'm not alone, but I'm here with two amazing guys, Tendo Plays and Snare. Hi, guys. How's your weekend been so far, Snare?
It's been a good, it's been quite fun. I've had power for more than 12 hours, so it's been a revelation. I've been very, very happy.
Tendo?
It's been good so far. Bit of a busy Saturday, but slow Sunday. Getting ready to cast some FIFA. Here with you guys, and excited for today's game.
All right. Now let's take a very quick look at the prize pool for the FIFA 21 tournament at the Umzansi Esports League. It is, as we know, a whopping $17,500, with $15,000 going to the PUBG Mobile tournament and $2,500 going to the winners of the FIFA tournament. Now, let's take a look at the updated leaderboard standings of the players competing in the tournament. Snare, do you want to talk us through the...
So here, looking at the standings, of course, at the top, haven't seen any change moving just yet between the Beast and Unfazed. The big changes in the course of the play over this weekend has been Young Savage moving himself up to 4th position, and yesterday the matchup between Bobo Beast and Mobizilla, promoting them both to 6th and 7th respectively, getting them out of bottom. DarthMayhem, unfortunately, rounding up the pack at the very bottom, and his day might not get any easier, will it? And I don't think we're going to be seeing the last of him at the very bottom there, unfortunately.
Let's make an introduction to our viewers to the two players who are going to be throwing down today on both our matches at the Umzansi Esports League FIFA tournament. It is Masoom and DarthMayhem, and looking at this, you can understand exactly why Snare is worried and doesn't think there's going to be any change. These players, Masoom has definitely showed that he has the ability to take on whoever and come out with the goods. Dendo, what are you looking forward to today?
I'm looking forward to, I think, a bit of an explosive game, because you're looking at Darth right now sitting bottom of the table, the only one that hasn't managed to put a point up. He's going to be hungry, and I'm not too sure if Masoom's going to be ready for that, firepower that he's going to bring into this game. But I mean, at the end of the day, you look at the opposite side of the coin, and it's definitely Masoom right there. So we all know he's going to be ready to take on whatever Darth is throwing at him. So I think we're going to see a very explosive first leg and a more, well thought out, more concise second leg in this matchup today.
So I just wanted to touch on very quickly, Snare. Like, these matchups I've been watching over the last, I think, 9 days. I have definitely falling in love with the Neymar card. I think that Neymar card is absolutely OP, and the players have been using him to such perfection. What other cards apart from Neymar are you hyped about in the metas in this for the players what they're using in the tournament?
For me, the ones that are completely broken is Neymar, like you've mentioned. We've seen Renato Sanchez be extremely versatile. Varane is pretty crazy. Vieira is pretty crazy. And for me, the one thing that's really insane is the utilization of these wingbacks. João Cancelo, in particular, and Mendy, my goodness. Almost every top-tier player has them in the team, and for very good reason. And I think one of the things that we've been seeing more and more of late is the overall balance that people are trying to strive for, right? People have the OP Neymars, of course, but the reason why they're winning is because they're able to distribute with other OP players on the field. So they have a nice OP team. Make sure I don't want to see any Ronaldos anymore. Honestly, like, guys, I get it. Ronaldo's great, but put Messi, put Mbappe. Or actually, just put Neymar and Mbappe, and everything will be okay.
And Tendo, like, one of the things I've also noticed is that we're having a lot of people use right backs as center backs. Is that a new thing?
I mean, look, if they've got the pace, and it's really good when you do put them in that position, obviously, because if they're able to, get back in time, they're able to reset the defensive line. They're also able usually to, make some good plays as well down the middle. So I think it's an interesting tactic that we're seeing some people, do in some of their gameplay. And yeah, I'm a bit interested to see who's going to be in these attacking lineups, because one that I think Snare didn't mention was Atal, who I've seen very utilized so far.
Every game,
And I mean, look, when Atal has that ball and he's in, a high percentage shot area, it's almost going in most of the time. So that's why a lot of these players are utilizing him.
I was literally just about to ask you about Yusuf Atal. I think personally for me was very underrated. I never took one look at him in the FUG season, but all of a sudden tournament I'm seeing him everywhere, and even on FUT, you just found out that he's just the place delivering the goods all the times. Now we are just waiting for our teams to get set up and to go live, and I guess here we are, and I'll leave you in the capable hands of Snare and Tendo. See you guys after the game.
Thank you, Mr. Sid. Here we go, Tendo. We came yesterday from a matchup that came down to the wire with Youth versus Youth in a little bit of a way. Youth has a lot of experience, right? Mobizilla, of course, has been around the block, but Masoom, a bit more of a tough cookie, has demonstrated the goods. I think that DarthMayhem found himself struggling against Young Savage on Friday, playing again here today. Do you think he's got what it takes? From what we see here, the team that he's used from Friday hasn't changed. Do you think he needed to, or does he just have to rely on his own skill rather?
Look, I mean, obviously he's practicing all the time, and I feel like the players that he has on his lineup obviously work for him and the play style that he has. But your Neymar's in such a good position after the through ball. Masoom doesn't even take the time to give him a little bit of respect to reset over here. Darth been stumbling since the beginning of the game, and already a cracker shot to open things up, and he's already stumbling the ball forward here, which is a little bit unfortunate, honestly. So. Yeah, man, look, early goal for the man right now. What do you think? How's this looking for Darth?
So I think that one of the things here, Darth actually gets the ball back. Renato Sanchez gets the ball forward. That looks offside. That looks pretty offside.
That's very offside.
I kind of think that the thing about Masoom, right? The nickname that we've had for him thus far in the Umzansi Esports League has just been the Iceman, because this guy just does not crack under pressure, plays very cold on both sides of the field, scores a goal, resets quickly, defends a goal, resets quickly, doesn't have any time for playing around. So I think that the way that this has been playing out has been playing into his hands perfectly. He's been given time to sort of figure out his opponent, and the more and more chinks he can find in the armor, the more he's going to be able to exploit that. And I think the one thing that DarthMayhem is going to have to do very quickly is figure out a way to keep the score line shallow, because Masoom is one of those players that once he starts scoring a few, it easily turns into many, and now he's waiting for a second. Proving me wrong about Ronaldo, able to get very deep step with the dribble, cuts it across the defender into the bottom corner. Second goal already, Tim.
It's like Masoom was listening to us at the desk talking about Ronaldo. Let's see something different. Then he's just like, no, not today. Old reliable, always good. Looking a little bit grim right now for Darth. 2 goals down, 14 minutes into this matchup. And I mean, look, if it's gonna continue like this and he doesn't close things down and just give all this freedom and the space for Masoom to play, this is gonna be a very tragic goal. And I mean, he's just opening things up over here. The passing plays superb. Mbappe gets the 3rd. We're 16 minutes into this game, Snare. I'm scared, I'm worried, I'm sweating.
Oh gosh, yep, you should be sweating. Actually, don't sweat, because the Iceman will cool you down. Don't even worry about it, man. He's got your back. 3 goals in, not even 20 minutes into the game. We're seeing DarthMayhem trying to get one of the deepest runs he's able to find. Unfortunately for him, it doesn't seem to matter. And we spoke a lot about like some of these attacking options that people have been putting onto the field. Masoom has gone for all of them. Has Mbappe, has Neymar, has Atal, has Ronaldo. The only defensive player he has in the middle of the field is Renato Sanchez, and it doesn't seem like he needs more than that. SCN's playing very deep. There might be a chance here, though. DarthMayhem can't get the ball.
Yeah, Atal in a dangerous area there, unable to capitalize. He does get the ball back, passing it to Mbappe. Mbappe with a couple of fancy maneuvers here, not able to slide past the defense. Now back onto Masoom. Masoom playing the ball, loses it in the middle, back to Mbappe on the opposite end. Now the through ball in, finds a defender. And yeah, I mean, there's a couple of chances coming from Darth so far. And he's trying to get into this driver's seat, trying to win a little bit more of the possession here. But it's a little bit scary for him, right, Snare? Because as soon as Masoom is on the ball, you've got to be worried that he might score again.
And speaking of which, here he is. Okay, does get dispossessed this time around. But yeah, absolutely. Masoom has clearly figured out exactly how to play against you. So your job now is to figure out how to complicate life for him. Unfortunately, this particular part of the pitch here on the left flank for DarthMayhem has been completely locked down. Every single time you try to make a move here, he's been shut out. Masoom doesn't seem like there's space on the right side either. This really complicates things, right? And I think what makes things complicated even further is the fact that he has Eric Cantona on that side instead of Mbappe, instead of Neymar. It's not as much pace, so you can't rely on him to open up the runs for them.
Misplaced pass. in the middle there. Not able to capitalize from that play, Darth. So now it's back to Masoom, who appears to just be a ball magnet at this point, always on it, trying to play it forward. Renato Sanchez with the ball, passing it to Ronaldo. Ronaldo, obviously, always in a dangerous position here to make something happen. Neymar with the pass, not finding anyone. Masoom now on the attack. Hasn't stumbled it yet. Atal still on it. Atal tries to pull it back, tries to open up the defense to try get a pass in onto Ronaldo. Ronaldo's got it back. Masoom, some beautiful passing play here. Will the defense crumble? It looks like it doesn't.
Spent so much time on the ball there, but somehow did not manage to find himself in on goal. Regrettably, DarthMayhem now will try for a counter-attack, doesn't find anything off of this. But that kind of situation has to be really scary, right? You're playing these deep balls, you're doing everything you can on the side of Masoom to get into the box, but finally DarthMayhem does seem to be adapting somewhat. Will mean that's good things for later, but for now there might be a goal. Renato Sanchez in on goal. All right, maybe I should stop saying things because Masoom seems intent on proving me wrong. 4-0 suddenly as he cracks the defense again.
And I mean, he's just getting these sneaky passes through the defenders. You know, for the most part, I'd say Darth, when the passing play is being, you know, generated from the side of Masoom, he's able to deal with it, but it's just these sneaky passes he's opening that obviously, you know, with experience from Masoom that he has, he sees them quite well. And with the players that he has up in the front in his forward attackers, it's almost just feeding, you know, a chew toy for him at this point. So now he's playing it again, finding those passes, opening up the defense. So now everybody has to pull back.
Dragging everybody back. This also means that because DarthMayhem doesn't have as much confidence to defend with only a few. Oof, nice save there. Stretching out from Pope to keep the goal at least 4. But the issue is that now every single time he has to drag back so many players on the defense that it doesn't allow him to make any effective counterattacks. So he always has to search for the long, really aggressive, kind of Hail Mary type of ball because there's not much else really available to him. Now he's considered a free kick. Will this go in? Tries to go for the direct goal. It will not succeed. And Masoom will still be happy to go into the first half. I guess I'll take the 4-0 lead.
I guess looking for that 5th with that free kick, unable to capitalize. And yeah, I mean, Masoom's just been on the driver's seat pretty much for the entirety of this game. Not much that we're seeing from Darth here, even though he's trying to make some passing plays. It just seems like the defense right now is a wall that's unpenetrable for the attack. Cancelo now on the ball. Will maybe something emerge from this? And it's you know, it's the one thing about Ultimate Team, you know, the way the teams are situated, you'll find that obviously because of letters and, you know, how players are performing in the season, obviously everybody's running the same players, but it's always interesting to see how different players use those players in their passing play. Because I mean, look at the way that Masoom is using his attack here. Pulls it back into Neymar, and he's just opening up the defense with the passing play, man. It's just insane.
It's actually exactly what you're mentioning, right? If you see how DarthMayhem is using his Ronaldo, for example, his Mbappe, a lot of searching passes, a lot of deep attempted runs. But on the side of Masoom, he's using these players as if they are sticks in pinball. Ball just bouncing all across the pitch. Suddenly it's in the back of the goal. And 5-0 up. Looking like he's... And the thing is, look, it's exactly what you're saying, right? He can't find himself actually passing his way into success from DarthMayhem. He always has to try to go for the long ball. And Masoom ready for it every single time. In fact, ready with his own long ball potentially to counter. Down Cancelo, at least this time around for DarthMayhem. In on the ball, keeps him safe. But another thing that I think is quite interesting is the valuation that different players have for certain cards. For example, Ronaldo was brought in at halftime to replace Eric Cantona. DarthMayhem, can he score this? Nope, he cannot. But he's the only person that plays Cantona regularly. Some other players have him on the bench, and he's the only one that has Ronaldo sitting on the bench. So now the question is going to be asking himself is, damn, if all the upper echelon players are playing Ronaldo in a certain way, maybe I should just do the same, man.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, part of the esports and I mean general sports in general, but I feel like esports is more claimed for this is just, you know, watching VODs and analyzing how people play in certain play styles. And obviously you can learn a thing or two, and has he learned a thing or two here while he's trying to make this attack? Yeah, Atal's on it in the box here in a dangerous position. And he gets it. He pulls it back by 1 for now. Still in a big deficit here. But yeah, I mean, obviously you can start to learn how people are playing, their play styles, and how other people are using players that you're trying to use to, you know, implement it in your own game style. So maybe that's just something Masoom has over the likes of Darth, a little bit more experience where he knows that he needs to start, you know, analyzing some players before coming inside a game.
Seems to have been his preparation has bode well here. The ball is still in possession of DarthMayhem on the other side of the corner. He scored a goal, looking for another one. Will not be able to do so. Unfortunately, gets dispossessed in the middle of the box. One huge thing I think about exactly what you mentioned about how watching VODs, trying to get better in terms of studying your opponents, is also learning exactly the way that they like to attack and preventing that from happening before it starts. For example, Masoom, whenever he's in space like this, will always go for these deep runs. Can he find the cross? No, he cannot. Okay, so DarthMayhem has done some of his homework, but can he keep the ball out is the question, and he does. Adaptation here, Tendo. The young man is learning.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, when you are faced against an opponent where you're the underdog, it's sometimes, yes, you can win that game, but you have to really be giving it your all. I mean, it's a little bit tough. The finesse shot, Neymar pulls it into the box away from his defender. Yo, sometimes you try to boost somebody, you try to, you know, put some positives, and then that happens, and it's just, you know, a little bit tough. But look, he's trying to make the attack here. It's looking good. Darth, he's learning, but Masoom just always a step ahead for him.
He has very good instincts though on Darth. And now here, he's in on the ball. Oh, doesn't go for the run though. The extra touch might have really doomed him here. Gonna go for the roulette. Neymar lashes the goal, but it doesn't actually wind up in the back of the net. Tries for a goal kick, or corner right rather. But regrettably, golden opportunity here, seeming like it's gonna end up being squandered. And I think that's what we are really seeing, right? The experience of Masoom having the difference. In those key situations, he's been in that situation a million times against this kind and caliber of competition, so he'll never miss. As well for Mr. DarthMayhem, despite all the skill, you still have to grind it out, right? Against the best that SA has to offer. He's getting there though because his instincts are good, his skill is good, just needs a little bit more of the final product. And I think at this stage, he's 6-1 down, but from now on, there's a little bit of also less pressure, right? As you go into the second leg, you know for a fact that winning is probably impossible. So now you're just going to do your absolute best and see how many goals you can get yourself.
No, come on. What are you jinxing?
What?
What
I'm,
do
so,
you
my
have to
bad.
jinx?
I'm sorry. I'm not bad. I'm sorry. My bad.
It's a bit of a grim day, but definitely I think Darth has pulled up to the show, and he's really trying his best here. And his plays are great as well. I mean, he's opening up the defense of Masoom whenever he can, and he's making these great opportunities. But I just think the finishing is probably where it's lacking right now, and just trying to get it into that box. It's not as easy as the way Masoom is making the team. And whenever you see Neymar with Masoom, he's always opening up space, whereas the way that Darth is using Neymar on the opposite end, he's almost just not really using him as a final finisher. He's just trying to use him to make plays in the middle of the pitch, which isn't really working out. Whereas on the opposite end, Neymar's definitely playing more of that striking role. And you can see, I think a stat pulled up where the Darth's Neymar only has 1 shot and Masoom's Neymar has 5.
Opportunities have abounded here in Masoom. In the closing moments of the game, doesn't really care too much either if he ends up conceding this goal, but would be very good for Darth's confidence here. Can he get it in? Atal in on possession, back onto Mbappe. Mbappe looking for the space. He's getting the run through, but a little bit of touch. Masoom makes it look effortless, crowds him out in the box, and will just game manage his way to victory here. Yep, this game's over. This game's done. GG. Leg number 1 goes in favor of Masoom. Oh, this is in season 3 of the Umzansi Esports League. We haven't really seen anybody have hyper dominant performances like this just yet, but the Iceman, he's back, baby. he's back with a 7-1 victory.
Yeah, I mean, you know, blood cold at this point on the side of Masoom. He's really put on a show, a masterclass. You know, Dr. Sid would love to say. Almost did nothing wrong, you know, besides that one goal that he led through. But I mean, if you look at that goal, there was, you know, one of those moments where the defense just wasn't ready and set up for that shot to come through. So, I mean, look, you have to take every chance that you can on the side of Darth. So he does definitely take that.
He takes it, gets the goal, but it's the only goal that he's able to get. And unfortunately, even though he's able to get into the final third, finding himself in the opportunities and in the situations where he can get a shot on target proves to be extremely difficult for him. So he goes into the second leg. Yes, he's pretty much lost to the series, but that means that there's a little bit less pressure, like I was mentioning. This time, we're in a pause, so it's fine. I'm hoping the Costas curse doesn't apply right now. So as he goes into this one, right, what his priority is going to be in terms of what he needs to learn from this game? Because ultimately, at this point, he's in a learning phase. There's nothing he can do else to win this one out. So if you're him, or if you're coaching him, what are you telling him to note in the matchup against Masoom going forward?
Yeah, I think he just needs to tighten up the defense because, I mean, not to say it's predictable the way that Masoom is playing, but it's only predictable because it's working for him, right? So I think by this point, he should have read the passing plays that Masoom is putting on. He needs to try close down Neymar a little bit more, especially Ronaldo on the opposite end of the field. And then likewise, he needs to work a little bit more with his passing play towards that upper echelon of the field instead of just trying to get these long balls in and in a deep position and hope to get a shot in. So yeah, we'll see how it goes as the second leg is on the way.
Indeed it is. Kickoff has started, and we will see if Masoom, how many more goals he can get versus how much DarthMayhem can show his development, show his own growth. This is the training arc for the young man. Let's see what he can get here. As now, early ball in, Ronaldo looking for a towel. Is this going to be just like game one? Gets a pass back into the middle of the box. Neymar on the receiving end of the pass. Easy ball. He could have scored with Ronaldo, but he wanted it to be Neymar. First goal, open up the score sheet. 8-1 now for Masoom.
Whew. All right, deep breath. I think we all deserve a deep breath. Oh, no, man.
Oh,
His
my
pass is just superb. Neymar's on, takes the shot in as well. On the brace already, Neymar. Masoom not sleeping here. He's awake. Is Darth awake? He needs to be awake because he just can't. I think so. He needs to tighten down. You know, it's all fun and games for us to say he needs to learn and improve, but it doesn't work if you're not kind of making that effort to try and close these plays down, because I feel like he's just opening up and letting Masoom take control of everything. I mean, look at that shot!
Oof. Ronaldo carries the ball literally from midfield into the back of the net. Almost a solo effort there. Scoring the third goal, 11 minutes. And I think part of the issue is that, oh wait, this might be the opportunity. Oh no! Can't get the ball into the back of the net. Still in on possession though. So he might have an opportunity here. Oh. Can he find a chance here? Mendy into Mbappe. Looking for the chance. This might be the goal. Mayhem. There we go. Oh, they have in on goal. All right, so in terms of adaptation, right, he's clearly made a little bit more effort in terms of not playing just directly the long ball in his offense, and it worked out for him as he finds the early goal. Much better interplay with his midfield players. Defensively, he's still quite leaky, which is a problem, but we have still seen some signs of life here from DarthMayhem. I hope though that Masoom doesn't snuff those signs of life out right now.
Dude, how?
And he does. And he does. How he does it, nobody knows, but Masoom.
The defender there just let the ball go, and Ronaldo on that ball, just moving too fast. Keeper couldn't predict the shots, and it just goes in. And Ronaldo with the turns on Masoom.
Oh my God.
It's just unstoppable. Luckily, the defense, Ronaldo goes back to cover. So now Darth, everything's shaking right now. He needs to stabilize, trying to get some passing play here, but the middle field is just too strong. Essien takes the ball. Essien has options in front of him. He finds the option here, goes for the shot, and it actually almost goes in. Neymar putting on a show here on the side of Masoom. It's looking good. He stumbles the ball here, trying to clear it.
How does he still have this ball? This is insane. Spending more time on the ball than DarthMayhem has even seen it on the pitch. It's just bouncing up and down right here into the final third every single time, and it's all Masoom what DarthMayhem rather can do to just keep it away. But it just feels like every single effort, it's just a matter of time before there's another key pass just like that one. Ronaldo looking for a way in. Ronaldo gonna hold it up with the nutmeg roll into the goal. Woo! Hot damn. Hot damn. Hot damn.
It is hot. It's winter. It's starting, but it's hot today. I'm not gonna lie. The scoreline sitting 12-2. Darth needs to find the recovery. Masoom in the driver's seat at this point. He should be in the Formula 1. Making things happen here. Plays the through ball here. It's looking good now. Mbappe for Darth. Cuts it back into a towel. But the defense is ready for it. There's no ways he's getting through that one. Today.
You know what that means? You know what that means? As soon as a defense happens, suddenly the counter-attack is on. Masoom looking to put even more salt in the wounds. Does get dispossessed, but yet, you know, in the season 1 of the Umzansi Esports League, right, one of the reasons why Unfazed still continues to be my favorite player is that he mastered this technique of no matter what, even if he's the one that's playing out of possession, he's always the one that's pressuring on the ball and it feels like the ball just sticks to his feet. You dispossess him, he tackles you back and he's back in possession 2 seconds later. It was amazing to watch, and now that Masoom is applying this tech here against DarthMayhem, feeling very difficult here. I mean, 12-2 on aggregate. At this point, all right, okay, let's real talk. Let's real talk, right? What scoreline is he happy with? 12-2 is okay. You're not happy with 10 goals on aggregate being behind, but where are you okay for your pride here for DarthMayhem?
At this point, just draw the game up in this leg. I'd say then, you know, I think then you'd be proud of that kind of scoreline. You're able to pull it back, and I mean he's got time. It's the half isn't over yet. But as I say that, hopefully, you know, Masoom doesn't do Masoom things here. Cancelo in the right position, but he gives it up and he's back on the attack now. Masoom onto Renato Sanchez. Sanchez passing it to Neymar. Neymar being a pivotal player, yeah, and he does get the pass on to Ronaldo. Ronaldo goes past the defender. The shot comes in.
What a tackle.
The tackle, though, just as good as it. He's able to recover onto Walker, trying to play it down in the middle of the field now, Darth. But loses it.
Again, man, you just, no matter what, it always feels like, honestly, I think this ball is the one ring. It has a mind of desires to be in Masoom's feet. And now, with Aphelion, we're going to try and find some interplay to get into the box once more. Neymar in possession. Can he get the ball forward? Not just yet. He's still in possession, though. So many opportunities might come. Ronaldo searching for a way in. Varane, though, between himself and Mendy, they close off the passing lanes. Okay, things did not look good at the beginning of this half. But they're looking slightly better than they did at the beginning of this. He's closing off some of these passing lanes. He's not allowing these super aggressive runs after the roulette. And I think crucially, he's being much more aggressive in challenging on the ball to prevent the run from starting before it even happens.
Yeah, and we see that, but he does give up the free kick, but he manages to win back and gets a free kick of his own here now, Darth. So now Darth can make a play happen here, finds a beautiful through ball here. Able to play to Mbappe. Mbappe gonna cut in here. Finds a pass into Neymar. Neymar trying to do defensive footwork. And he gets it in to pull it back. So it's looking good at the end of the half here for Darth. As it's sitting at a 5-2 scoreline. Let's not talk about the aggregate score though. Let's just focus on this game. Let's focus on this one.
Forget about the aggregate. The aggregate doesn't exist. And on this one, that's exactly what he needs. We have a situation where he's back in right now. A pause will take place, some adaptation happening. Unfortunately for him, though, still a lot of work to do. 3 more goals here in leg number 2, but much more confidence will be granted to him after getting a goal like that. And putting on Orsic, yet again taking off Cantona. We'll see if as the tournament continues here in the league, whether or not he makes the decision to keep Cantona in his starting 11. But for now, really wants to keep the momentum he had at the end of the first half going. But grab more goals. Make sure that the beginning of the second half does not look like the beginning of the first. Of course, this might have other ideas though coming in from Masoom. The Iceman is in with Ronaldo, but he dribbles it out. It's a little bit too heavy on the touch.
Yeah, just a bit too heavy on that touch. Dangerous position always when Ronaldo's there. Mbappe now. I feel like on the team of Masoom, is like everybody's just a great defender for some reason. I don't know what it is, but the midfielders are getting the balls, the attackers are getting the balls. I mean, he doesn't even need a defense at this point. Neymar now has a pass on. It does get blocked. Neymar stumbling around with the ball.
He still has the ball.
He still has the ball. The retention is high on the side of Masoom. He never loses the ball, and he's able to play it now to Atal. But the defense is doing really good here to hold them off on the side of Darth. They've pulled back. They've got their structure now. Structure not looking good though. But Ronaldo gets through the shots past the keeper. What? Yo. Damn.
What?
Damn, okay. That's all I can say. That's some play. That was some beautiful play right there.
That was some incredible play that we just saw right there. He makes sure he has the sees the line, able to zag past the final defender. And you think he's in a really rough position. How can he get a goal from this angle? But then you remember this is CR7. Gets the shot, gets the goal. 6-2 now. And even though for DarthMayhem it's about this game and this game only, Masoom still in firm control. Doesn't get a second goal here for the second half. He wanted it, so now this might be one of the few opportunities DarthMayhem has to run in a goal of his own. Neymar on the other side of the ball from Atal, but the run out from Courtois. He's still in possession though, so this might be another opportunity. Mbappe back to Neymar. Neymar goes for the shot. Neymar gets the goal.
6-3, and the score line's been halved. 3 more to go until. Oh no, Mbappe gets past the defender, pulls it back, trying to open up, waiting for a runner. Does find someone. Sanchez with the beautiful ball onto Ronaldo. Masoom doesn't stop at all. He gets scored. He goes back to score himself.
Oh my God, what?
What? How does he do it? How does he do it? We don't even know here.
Oh man. The most dangerous time for a goal to happen in FIFA is right after you've scored your own. Masoom showing us that this is a true maxim as he comes through with a goal that really is not supposed to happen, but somehow Ronaldo is able to keep the ball long enough to secure himself. The 7th goal in the second leg. It's 14 goals up right now. He gets prevented from scoring, but a tackle. That's a penalty.
How does he get possession there? There's defenders. The defenders are just start closing it down, and then it causes a penalty, and Ronaldo's obviously gonna score it. So now we're sitting at 8-3. Aggregate score we don't mention at this point. Ronaldo's still on the ball, position still with Masoom. At this point, Masoom has played a multitude of games. I mean, this is like 4 games in 1 at this point with this score line. Ronaldo still has the ball in the box, finding a dribble in. There's no ways he scores from here, right? There's no ways, right?
Okay, thank you. I was at the setup. There's not that many players around him. Hopefully this is not going to happen, but he's in on goal. Ronaldo not going to find it. Looking for the pass back. He really wants to get for some pure finesse. Honestly, Masoom is playing with his food here. He knows he's had the W. He's just enjoying himself. So DarthMayhem, you gotta punish your opponent. Don't
that's a beautiful goal.
But here we go. That's all we need to see. Can he get the goal? Yet again, Courtois off his line to deny DarthMayhem another goal. Twice now that's happened. And twice now, he's prevented the man from getting his pride back.
Super keeper doing the jobs there. Oh, keeper goes for the lunge, gets the ball. It's back to another player from Masoom. Essien now doing so well to hold that ball. Renato finds a beautiful pass to Mbappe. Oh, what a tackle from Cancelo. Masoom stabilizes just for a tiny little bit. There's 10 minutes left in this game for the most part. There's a great pass there onto the wing for Mbappe to run it down. Can he get a goal here? He tries to bring it in the defense though. A rock, a pillar, stone here for Masoom. Doesn't get it, but loses it somehow. Neymar with it. What's gonna happen here? Neymar with the fancy footwork, but doesn't get it.
What is happening? Oh my goodness. Everybody's just having fun right now. They recognize that the game is over, so you know what? Let's just have a good time as Spaza. Let's just enjoy ourselves. It's a Sunday afternoon. Go for these dribbles, see if we can get something spectacular, but with 15 goals scored across 2 legs for Masoom. I'm actually sorry, my bad. I mentioned the scoreline that shall not be named. And doesn't want to hear that though, because he's trying to increase that scoreline in with a very deep run. Kyle Walker gets it into Atal. Can he get it? Okay, okay. Defense is there.
How does he still have
the ball? He still has the ball. Doesn't give it up. He's still moving with us. Come on, somebody tackle him. Break his legs, please. Okay, Varane does the right thing. Finally. Or not. Tendo, what's happening? How is this even possible? Okay.
I don't know, honestly, man. He's just got magnets on his players for the most part, but there's a pass now. Can this be another consolation goal for Darth? But the defenders close him down so quickly. There's no room to play there, and he's back on the attack. The danger man himself, ice in his veins at this point. Doesn't get the run on though. It's on to Mbappe for Darth, but he loses it again. Every time Darth gets the ball, he just loses it back. But that's gonna be it. That's gonna be the end of the game. And I don't even know. Where do we break it down from this point? 15-4.
15-4, man. I feel like all we can say at this point is that Masoom is just feeling himself like he lost his keys, man. What a performance.
Yo, he was literally ripping it. Like, those goals were unbelievable, pure class. And yes, Stendo, as I do say, a masterclass on how to control the game once you start. Like, he didn't give him any breathing room at all to show what he could do. This game went in, destroyed it, game over after game one.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at these standings. I mean, we'll have to wait for them to update a bit, but let's look at our winner. After 2 games of FIFA today, our winner is who?
Oof. So, it looks like we do have updated standings. Wonderful, wonderful. And I feel like once you get yourself a victory with 11 goals on aggregate in advantage over your opponent, you're probably going to end up number 1. So Masoom, well deserved now at the top of the table. The Beast and Unfazed and Divac, they'll all be watching, being like, well, we're glad we didn't play him in this kind of form. Unfortunately, DarthMayhem, sadly, he's going to be the first one here to see, just the first one on 2nd losses, but the first one on 3rd losses. And really, really complicates life for him, because going forward, it becomes not just impossible, I think, to get into the playoffs, but now every single match he plays is going to be fighting just to stay in the Umzansi Esports League. So Masoom has made life as difficult for DarthMayhem as he's made life good for himself here.
Woo!
Yeah, it's devastating when you see it if you're Darth, but I think you have to take it and learn from it. And it's one of those where when you're granted the opportunity for a rematch, that you just have to do better next time around. And I mean, look, there's nothing to take away from Darth. I think amazing player. He's got some great plays. He's good at defending. It's just that obviously he was outclassed today, and it clearly showed with the scoreline.
Normally, if you scored 4 goals in 2 legs in this game, that's decent goal count, because people are scoring on average 5-6 goals, but 4 goals against 15, that is unbelievable. Ladies and gentlemen, has been the Umzansi Esports League Season 3 FIFA 21 tournament. We've had 2 amazing games right now. Masoom just destroying and showing what he's capable. I have to say a big shout out to Snare and Tendo Plays. We will see you right back after the break with some PUBG action coming to you guys. So see you after the break. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dr. Sid. This is the Umzansi Esports League Season 3 brought to you by Nordwing. We are here for some PUBG action, and I'm not here alone. I'm here with DK and Patchy, my favorite people when it comes to PUBG Mobile. How are you doing, guys? DK, how's your weekend so far?
Hey man, it's been good, You know, the cold has set in, so we're all huddled up and trying to stay warm. As you can see, Patchy already, he's in Eskimo mode. He's ready to fight the cold. But aside from that, it's been pretty good. You know, excited to get into today's games to see what the teams are going to get up to.
Patchy, I'm definitely coming to pick up that jacket. I think I got my eyes.
It's quite a nice
Anyway,
jacket, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with some more PUBG action, and today we are going to be looking at the updated prize pools. Updated prize pools, I said, but no, the prize pools is as it is. It is still $17,500 with $2,500 going to the FIFA tournament and $15,000 going to the winners of the PUBG tournament. It is amazing what the players are fighting for, so they have a clear picture of what's at stake, and nobody takes things for granted. Speak taking things for granted, let's see who's been doing well on the leaderboard and who hasn't.
Yeah, it's our favorite place to be. It's, of course, a Gamers United Nations sitting right at the top. They're 204 points after their pretty good performance yesterday in the groups, and we actually saw some really, really good gameplay coming out of a lot of those teams in the groups yesterday. Very, very nice performance all around the board. They were getting quite active in the beginning of games, which was really good to see, and you could see the results of that, especially looking at the score, 88 kill points coming out of Gun. Really, really big. Of course, G3 Temper now in second place with 166, being, of course, overtaken by Gun. Third place, still Zero Tolerance Skill, sitting 135. We've got 4KT in fourth place, 131 points to them. Influence Rage sitting in fifth place with 119. Immortalz in sixth with 113. Just underneath them, Sincerity with 112. And underneath them, Aphelion Apex with 111. So the scores at the bottom of the first page looking pretty close. And I mean, the entirety of this first page actually looking quite competitive. So, yeah, that's pretty exciting to see. Of course, moving on into the second page, it's going to be Undisputed AE sitting in that 9th place. Natural Killers are taking up 10. The Drogons with 11. BBC are going to be found in that 12th spot. Pain Africa doing a really good job yesterday of bringing themselves way out of that really big red spot that they found themselves in. Some back-to-back chickens and some good performances coming out of them. So they're in 13th place. Rain from Hell in 14. Euphoric Gods in 15. And Not Gaming in 16. Also, those points looking quite close. I mean, if you look at Natural Killers, Drogons, and BBC, 103, 103, 102, those are some really, really close scores. So anything could happen, really. I mean, the last few groups that we have moving on, you know, we could see a couple of changes here and there. So, yeah, it's quite exciting. Moving on to the next page, of course, it's NFxUNIQUE sitting in that 17th spot, Lag following them just behind in 18th position, Rainbow Six in 19th. 20th is Outsiders Official. 21 is Spaza 6. In the 22nd slot, we've got the comfy Cartel. In 23, it's Sidizens, who managed to scrape their way out of that relegation zone for the time being. Black Clover sitting in at 24th. And of course, now moving on to the next page is going to be where we're looking to see who are going to be the teams that find themselves in this spot. Of course, you have Young Thundercats who have moved down into 25th position. Ultra 6 sitting in 26. We've got Fear in 27. Nibble Esports in 28, Toxic in 29, and Blank Legion in 30. And those bottom three teams, Nibble, Toxic, and Blank, really having a difficult time trying to get themselves out of here. Now, we did see a pretty decent performance coming out of Nibble to give them some points, but ultimately, you know, they're going to have to go above and beyond if they want to get out here. And I'm not even sure, actually going to have to check myself on this one, but not even sure if they have any chances to move out of this one, or I'm not sure how many chances they have left at that. So, yeah, it's looking like a really daunting task for a lot of those teams sitting at the bottom there.
DK, do you want to talk us through the points distribution? And obviously, if you look at some of the teams, I mean, some teams have Nibble. There's a team down at the bottom that actually has a winner chicken. I think that's Ultra 6. They have a winner chicken dinner, but they're still at the bottom. Explain the point structure and how important these points actually are to moving up on the table.
Well, Sid, as we can see there, of course, first place awards you 15 points, second place awards you 12, third place rather awards you 10 place, fourth brings you 8, fifth, of course, 6. We've got sixth place awarding you 4, seventh awards you 2, 8th to 12th place awards you 1 point, and then no points for 13th to 16th place, and of course, that 1 point per kill. So this makes it quite interesting, and we've spoken about this before. You know, the kill point there is sometimes really beneficial for teams. As we can see, teams, if they play a super aggressive game, it really helps to move them up that leaderboard. And as we were talking about it last time, we said, you know, the placement points that teams here have kind of is like a condolence prize, like a, you know, like a consolation prize for them, where the focus should hopefully be on bringing in the kills, because we've seen this time and time again where teams play a super aggressive match and they have, you know, just an absolutely insane amount of points being awarded to them. That aside from the placement points that they've got. But of course, now looking at the squads here, coming into today's matches, we've got Ultra 6, we've got Aphelion, Apex, we've got Blank Legion, we have Fear, we have Black Clover, of course, the players there from Undisputed, AE, as well as the players from Spaza 6. This is just Group A. We also have the players from Group D that are going to be joining us here as well. And definitely looking to see how the outsiders are going to be performing. We've got them on the board here. We've got the Rain from Hell team. We've got Citizen Gaming. We've got the Sincerity Esports. We've got the Euphoric Gods, Slime 4KT, Young Thunder, and then, of course, the players from NFxUNIQUE. Now, one of them that I've been talking about, you know, I was talking about the kill points being so important, especially like the players from the Undisputed AE that we see that are going to be performing here, or competing here today as well. They've had a game in the early stages where they actually finished off on 19 kills. That awarded points in grand total. So that is absolutely crucial. If the teams want to start flying up the overall standings, kills will definitely be the way to go. So I'm going to be curious to see whether or not we're going to be having that aggressive performance come in. Of course, in yesterday's games, we did see a few more early engagements, the teams starting things off a little bit sooner instead of waiting into those later phases. So hopefully today we'll have that once again, seeing that we have the players from Group D playing yet again, now with the addition of Group A.
Listen, I can't wait to dive into the because I know for a fact that there's going to be some table shaking going on, as Pain Africa brought the pain yesterday and moved all the way up into the 13th spot. I'm hoping some other teams today, I will name no names, will bring their A games and defeat those in Group D and move up the leaderboard, if you catch my drift. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the Umzansi Esports League Season 3, brought to you by Gaming. We are talking PUBG. The fuel has been put into the aircraft. We're just about ready to take off into our first map, which is Erangel. I know I ask this question all the time. Patchy, is there any team in particular that you're rooting for and expecting to do well on this map, or change things on the leaderboard?
So, of course, right now, Slime 4KT is sitting quite high up that leaderboard as we have it. So they're obviously a team to look out for. Another team that I'm potentially also going to keep my eye on is a team like Sincerity. I think they've also been doing pretty well, sitting quite high. And I think Aphelion, Apex, as well as Undisputed AE are also teams that were hovering on the top. I know Undisputed AE did very, very well in the beginning, though they did seem to drop off a little bit at the end as some of the other teams really, really stepped it up in a big way, like Gun and G3. But I think those are some big names that you could definitely be watching. And they're all in this group, and they're all sitting really high on the leaderboard. So I think, if anything, those teams are definitely going to be tussling it out for this one.
Thank you for the stats and the insight over there. Listen, I'm adjusting myself in my seat. My hands are sweaty. I'm just waiting for the action to begin, because I know for a fact that it's going to be hot, hot, hot. If yesterday was anything to judge, like DK said earlier on, we've seen teams sort of switch up the strategy and get some early engagements. We've been saying for weeks now about how we would like to see some early engagements to thin out the herd earlier and try to get as many kill points as you can, because the leaderboard definitely shows that these kill points carry a major effect on where you end up. So DK, I mean, we've looked at the game, and now It is actually about to start. We are going all the way from Milta Power to Primordial. I'm getting my names right. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the Umzansi Esports League Season 3 PUBG Mobile Tournament brought to you by Nordwind Gaming. I'm leaving you in the very capable hands of Patchy and DK, and I will see you after the game.
Let's go. Thank you so much, Dr. Sid. We're heading into map number 1 of the evening. It's, of course, going to be Erangel. We've got a very interesting flight path. I mean, the majority of that flight path goes straight down the channel in between the ferry pier and the Sosnovka military island. So that quite a strange flight path. That's actually going to force a lot of teams to jump really, really early on that flight path and head towards the eastern portion of the available map space. Of course, the rest of the teams now having to decide where they want to go in terms of, you know, Quarry, Gadka, Pachinki. Maybe they want to make a really quick rotate up to George. We'll see. Maybe some teams will choose down to that Sosnovka military island, which I certainly hope for. And yeah, we'll wait and see where that zone goes, because I have a sort of feeling it's going to go up to like shooting range or something, you know, knowing the zone and how it likes to just troll everyone in the game. I mean, we could just see that happen potentially. And indeed, it does head slightly up towards the north, maybe a little bit more towards the west, though slap bang on top of the continent. So a couple of rotations definitely going to be having to come out here. What I'm hoping for is that we see the same pacing come through from a lot of these teams to try and get things started early, because like I was discussing with S-Proxy yesterday, you know, I think the next stage in the evolutionary chain of you know, competitiveness here in the Umzansi Esports League is really going to be how well these teams can utilize the early game, because we've sort of gotten to the point where the teams are really good at, you know, the gunplay and the managing of tactics and situations towards the end of the game. And we've seen some really, really good stuff happening there. Some crazy clutches, some crazy plays, some really good smokes and rotates and defenses and attacks. So some really good stuff there. I think it really comes down to the teams moving into the space and developing the area of how do we utilize the early game to the absolute fullest. And we did see some of that yesterday when I think it was Lag who dropped in immediately. They hot dropped a team which got back-to-back chicken dinners. Pain got 2 chicken dinners back-to-back, and in the third game, Lag hot dropped them. Pain did not expect that. They were riding off the high of getting those 2 chicken dinners. They thought they were going to be unstoppable. Lag immediately hot drops them, punches them in the face, and takes a squad right in the beginning of the game. And that's the kind of stuff that I'm looking for. That's the kind of stuff that I think we want to see a little bit more of in terms of, you know, moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be amazing to see, you know, that kind of happening, teams setting it up in the early game. But, you know, so Dr. Sid was asking, you know, what teams you're going to be looking to see, how they're going to be performing here today. And, well, for me, honestly, Patchy, I think Ultra 6 has a good chance here to improve their standings. Like we've mentioned before, you know, they've been able to bring in that chicken dinner. Now we look to see whether or not they'll be able to do it once again. Just bring in another chicken, bring in some strong games, and potentially move themselves up. Because at the current moment, they're a little bit over in towards the danger zone. They're not in the most ideal position they want to be in just yet.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. I mean, Ultra 6 and I mean a lot of teams, including Blank Legion, for example, and Fear, not in the greatest spots. Same with Young Thundercats even, you know, they're not really where they want to be. I'm interested to see that you single out Ultra 6 amongst all of them. Because, of course, we have teams like Black Clover, like Young Thundercats, like Fear, and Blank Legion all in this group. So you've highlighted Ultra 6, who are sitting down in the 26th slot, I think it was, at the moment. But yeah, it's interesting. We're going to see if they can perform well. We've seen them sort of come to the table a little bit, but not really to the same extent that we want to see them if they want to get out of the spot that they find themselves in.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason why I said that is because, you know, able to get a chicken dinner in one of the past matches. So definitely, you know, the opportunity is there for them to kind of repeat that, have another go at that again. But of course, we're going to be seeing whether or not they'll be able to keep up that front. And now, as we look through the rest of the teams, I mean, some of the strong teams with regards to points we've got in here are, you know, teams like Aphelion, Apex. We've got the players from Sincerity that are sitting pretty high up. We've got 4KT, of course, sitting currently in 4th place with 2 chickens under their belt. So you know, it's going to be interesting to see whether or not these teams will be able to bring any of those additional points into the mix and, you know, step it up. As you can see, Ultra 6, of course, now all the way up in towards North George. Mullins now not on the best side. So 4KT stepping into the mix here. Vex now just putting in a quick few shots. And this is a fairly kind of standard start here for 4KT. Expecting them to, you know, to kind of move into a position where they can start picking off teams. But now we're going to be looking to see how the players here from Ultra 6 will be able to respond to that. How are they going to, you know, reply and potentially maybe turn up the aggression from their side?
Yeah. Well, we can only wait and see. We know that 4KT is definitely very capable of slicing through the competition when they put their minds to it. We've seen them do some really good moves in terms of their attacking abilities. Although, of course, many times we've seen them get caught out on the rotate or get third-partied when they're, you know, sort of kicked when they're down. But they can make things happen. Of course, as you mentioned, on the other side, we do have Ultra 6, who could also, you know, just surprise us a little bit, bring something interesting. And yeah, we can only wait and see. At the moment, nothing too crazy happening. They've got control of this compound and they're not being pushed just yet. And it doesn't seem like there's anyone really contesting them for it. So maybe this is going to be another slow game, I think, in terms of early game. I think we're probably just going to see standard plays from pretty much everyone. Slow plays, wait for the zone, and then sort of move from there.
But I mean, looking at the points overall, you know, that middle section of the leaderboard at the current moment is pretty close. So any games the teams can bring in will definitely change that up and improve their standing on that. But yeah, most of my focus today is going to be on the teams sitting on the lower end of that leaderboard. You know, they don't have a lot more opportunities remaining to improve those standings. So definitely looking to see whether or not they're going to try and step up. One of those teams, of course, being the players from Blank Legion. They are not sitting in the most ideal position at all. They're currently sitting right at the bottom of that leaderboard. So definitely expecting a strong performance from them today if they are looking to get out of relegation. As we saw yesterday, Spain was able to do that. They were able to get themselves out of harm's way and move up quite a considerable bit on that overall leaderboard. But of course, now we look to see whether or not the teams have, you know, made that decision to try and give it their all and bring in those points.
Yeah, I mean, Pain is a really great example. We've mentioned them already now, but they're actually a really good example because back-to-back chickens is... I mean, that's huge already to begin with. I mean, that's 30 points, I think it is. But they also got a really considerable number of kills to back that up. It was like 5 kills on one, 10 kills on another. That's an extra 15 kills. So that's actually 3 chicken dinners in terms of total points earned in total. So they got 15 for the first chicken dinner, 15 for the second, and then the total points over those 2 games was also 15. So that's a considerable point boost, especially if you're sitting in that lower sort of bracket of the leaderboard. 100%, that's going to get you all the way out because, I mean, the amount of points that are separating these teams towards the lower end of the scoreboard, it's like if we have a look at Blank Legion, for example, they're sitting on like 12 points. Just above them is Toxic with 25. So pretty much a chicken dinner would be able to boost them over the top there. You know, so literally any success that these teams can find is very useful in moving up that leaderboard, right? And if they manage to make, if the stars align, if they perform to that extent, they can just get themselves out. I mean, like you said, the time is running out, but it's not impossible just yet. It's only done when that bell rings and the round is over, really. Yeah.
No, 100% agree with you on that. So definitely going to be looking to see, you know, whether or not the players will be able to step, that Legion will be able to move themselves out of that relegation spot. I mean, if we look to Pain, yes, it's able to acquire 45 points. 47 just in yesterday's games, having 2 good runs. The third game, of course, you know, just balancing things out once again, you know, with them finishing up in 16th place, the first team back into the lobby. But I'm definitely looking to see how the teams in today's lobby are going to be playing it. I mean, because if we look at that bottom end of the leaderboard, and yes, I know we're talking about the bottom of the leaderboard quite a lot, but I mean, that is where we're going to be seeing the biggest changes. That is where the biggest possibility for change lies. And I mean, even the players here from NFxUNIQUE, they're currently sitting up in 17th place. Right upside, right in front of them, we've got the players from the outsiders sitting in 20th. So any additional points the outsiders can find from this engagement onto the side there of NFxUNIQUE will be absolutely amazing for them. They've already put in 2 knocks, so FaZe is down, as well as one of the other players from that team. But now with 4KT lurking around, you know, again, no surprise seeing this kind of performance coming in from 4KT. But now, will they be able to keep it up through all the games? That is going to be the question.
It is indeed, and at the moment 4KT putting in some long distance shots there in towards the outsiders. We also have NFxUNIQUE getting peppered by 4KT as the shots come through from Aimer. There's quite a bit of damage, not finding any knocks just yet. He's just going for it. He doesn't even care, pulling the trigger on that one just to see if he can find anything. Not going to find any knocks, but definitely has done quite a considerable amount of damage. So that's what I like to see. I like to see players just going for it, full sending all the way and trying to get what they can get. We're seeing it now, UAE putting in some hits of their own. So a lot of fights now breaking out here and there. We are moving in from Zone 2 to Zone 3. So we are heading in towards that mid-game. Some more fights. Clover goes down. Sinister pulling the trigger on that one. Sahil finding Zist. And, well, that's a couple of kills going their way at least. So we've had a couple of skirmishes here and there. Not all out complete battles yet. We haven't really had many wipes. I think we've only lost 1 team in total. Not too bad here. Citizens hold up in this compound. We've got Undisputed AE just keeping their crosshairs trained in that direction, seeing if they can spot any cheeky heads peeking out to see what they can see. So we'll see if they find any damage.
It's going to be interesting to see how the players there from UAE are going to play it. I mean, Citizens also hoping that Citizens do well, you know, just for the side of Dr. Sid, you know? Like, because he's been waiting patiently for that performance to come in from team, and hopefully they step up and deliver on that front. But looking at their current position, they are caught in a little bit of a tough one with UAE on the south of their angle, and then of course we've got another team just positioned over towards that northeastern side. So definitely a tricky position, but not an impossible one to get out of. If they decide to maybe get a bit aggressive looking for those angles, yes, it could definitely pay off for them. But also then, UAE up on the hill, they've got the high ground advantage, but Citizens have got the compound advantage. Already we see a little bit of rotation coming in onto the side of Matrix. He is now making his play, just trying to creep his way closer, but Potato already keeping a watchful eye on that. Rick also has got the visuals on the building, so it's going to be interesting to see how Matrix is going to try and handle himself in this one. And of course, the squad of the Citizens just patiently waiting to see how the players here from UAE are going to make this one work.
Yeah, so far it's just a little bit of pressure. Matrix is really the only one who's super far up into Citizens' grill. The rest of the team slowly inching forward, trying to find a couple of angles. We do see some nades flying through as well, but the Citizens are not yet disturbed. Still just holding their position here in the compound, not giving anything away either, which is pretty good to see, but also could potentially be a problem if they're not watching out, because they might just get caught out on some of the pushes here. Maybe some blind rotates, we'll see. For the time being, though, they are just waiting and watching, seeing if UAE are going to make any cheeky pushes, any moves. Matrix is here, but he is kind of holed up for the moment. Of course, Young Thundercats putting a couple of shots into 4K2, who have rolled up in towards the compound. That's a lot of damage done. Fex has to focus on getting that res in. Not going to be able to take the fight under a lot of pressure as the Young Thundercats moving up. That grenade, absolutely perfect. Slam dunks Fex into the ground and stops that res from coming in for 4KT. So now 4KT have taken serious damage. Grenades coming back in for the Young Thundercats. So Superior going down there. So they are receiving a bit of a taste of their own medicine here. But things are difficult for both sides. 4KT trying to push into this compound, trying to take it, control, take out these Young Thundercats. Molotov goes in as he just spots him, runs out the room. Up comes Aimer looking for the shots, but he's going to find the real question is Young Thundercats not going to find the kills that they are looking for. 4KT just barely managing to stay alive for the moment. Adonis does manage to get his HP back up, but the battle is very difficult at the moment. The Citizens getting absolutely peppered by Undisputed AE, who have decided to finally pull the trigger on their attack as well. We got Aimer hold up in the top of the house here, all by his lonesome, right next to Adonis, of course. The rest of the team on the other side, kind of sandwich these two lone wolf players here between the Spaza team.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really, really tough position for, especially for KT and Young Thunder to be in. I mean, with the addition of the players right there behind them, the whole team there, of course, from Spaza 6, just positioned up into the north. They need to be very careful. If they rotate out of this one a little bit too early, I mean, it could be the end for either of these two players, for, you know, Young Thunder or for KT. Aimer, of course, not just patiently waiting with those nades, trying to see if he can find that last bit of an angle. Oh, but Adonis just hops into the vehicle, gets that rotation going. But now, of course, we see so many more teams up ahead. That zone also now shifting up once again. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see where they're going to try and push on into, as this whole edge of the zone is looking absolutely jam-packed. We've got Aphelion Apex also positioned on the edge of the zone, but now entering up in towards Rock. This is going to be a tough entry point here for Adonis, as we've got the outsiders in front. We've got Sincerity in front as well, so really tough odds.
Yeah, super, super tough. And, of course, those rotates going to have to come in at the moment. There are a couple of teams still on the outside, although inside the zone, as you can see on the map there, a couple of teams right inside of Razak. NFxUNIQUE being one of those, Ultra 6 being another. And DK, you did say that you were going to be keeping an eye on Ultra 6. We'll see if they can stay alive for the time being. Looking for a couple of shots in towards FaZe, who is just across the way as Terry goes down. In the meantime, Black Clover actually dealing a little bit with the zone there, having a bit of a struggle, as one does in those particular spots. And it looks like we have a couple of players here, Hounds, Adonis, and of course FaZe, who are just sitting there and hoping that they can stay alive for the time being, not being hunted down by any teams. We've got 13 teams, still remaining 37 players left alive as rotates come in. Black Clover still struggling with that blue. No Brain going to be looking for some shots there. Not going to find anything just yet, but the intent is there at least. Some skirmishes happening here and there. A couple of fights as the rotates do come through, and everyone's looking for a bit of a spot to settle down. Aphelion Apex now rushing up towards the top of the hill. Spot out the team there. Zero notices all of them stacked towards the top and almost beaches his car on top of a rock, which could have been a little bit of an issue, but is instead going to decide to turn around. You got a 180 that one. You definitely don't want to get caught out in the middle of a bunch of people sitting on top of a hill.
Yeah, I mean, especially with the zone in towards Razak, this is going to be a really tricky one to be fighting in, as we've got so many teams still remaining. 13 teams, 36 players. I mean, the odds are just stacking up against them. As you can see, FaZe now, of course, jumping up there, popping a quick shot in towards the players there from Rain from Hell, just off in the distance. Some nice angles, but now, of course, Aphelion Apex also now making their approach, just holding the edge of Razak here. As you can see, Zero and Kage now positioned there, patiently waiting. No Brainer, of course, here for the players from Ultra 6, trying to find those angles. The rest of his squad, well, one of his players rather, right up here alongside him. That, of course, being Miyagi. Now, we will still wait to see where Lynx is and, of course, exactly how they're going to try and take this angle. As Rain from Hell facing a few tough odds of their own as the shots fly on in. But, of course, now here we go. Apex pushing further in towards the zone, taking that position just over towards the northwestern side. But so many teams just scattered throughout this region here in Razak. There's so many compounds to position in. I'm curious to see where the next zone is going to be centering up. Will it stay? Yes, it moves a little bit over towards that eastern side. So we're not going to be seeing major rotations coming in from the teams just yet. But this is definitely going to be very interesting, as a lot of these teams already so close together. Now with this zone shift and where they need to try and move in, I'm pretty sure the teams that have already solidified at a good angle within that zone will now be able to capitalize off of that and just reap absolute havoc across the lobby.
Yeah, at the moment there's a huge stack of teams sitting towards the bottom west side of that zone, fighting for their position, as you can see there on the map. I mean, look at this absolute scatter of teams in these buildings. got a lot of sort of like lone rangers moving around here, and that's because there was quite a number of messy fights happening leading up to what is now becoming the end game here. Of course, we expect to see quite a number of teams drop here, and of course the fighting is already taking place as Aphelion Apex are making their rotates. Spaza just putting the shots in. Undisputed AE in the meantime doing the same. Everyone popping those shots off, trying to find some kills for themselves, trying to pick up those points. But man, this is not an easy place to be in. Sincerity going to be putting some shots in towards Aphelion Apex as they land, and this is just exactly how it happens. You cannot find an unoccupied space at this point. It is super difficult to make that happen. All the teams flooding in from the western side of the maps. Shots coming through from Dagger as Black Clover have found themselves a spot up here towards the top of the map. At Dagger, not in the greatest spot, a little bit of a lack of cover there, just a rock, and that's not going to do too much for him. He gets taken down as Hulk puts a couple of long-range shots in, but I mean, look at this. It's an absolute mess right here in this little complex.
Yeah, I mean, Spaza, they're in a pretty good position, not gonna lie. Also, Sincerity, also in a really strong positions. We see a considerable amount of kills coming in, but Ultra 6 now starting to rush in a little bit onto the side of NFxUNIQUE, putting those hits in. Coco now taking a little bit of damage as well. So you can see the players there now from Ultra 6 stepping it up, bringing in that extra bit of play. Miyagi now just teaching the players here from NFxUNIQUE how it is done. Wax on, wax off, nade out the window, about to send, off it goes, and will it find its spot? Yes, indeed it does. That is why Miyagi is here. He is the master. He teaches us everything, especially when it comes to waxing cars. But now, as we move up onto the players here, you can see this zone is still looking absolutely jam-packed. I mean, that western front is not as crazy, but the eastern front is not as crazy. The west here, however, is looking pretty brutal. We got so many teams still trying to push in. The players from Ultra 6 putting up a good performance so far. Now turning their attention on to the players from UAE. As you can see, Matrix up in the window. Miyagi now again up with the masterclass, trying to continue with that flow. But now, this is where position is going to be absolutely brutal, absolutely essential too. As you can see, Sincerity, they've already in a good angle in the next zone. Almost smack dab center zone. The rest of the teams all need to come to them. If they can hold on to those compounds, they can just capitalize on the chaos and the teams essentially then kind of delivering themselves. But it is going to be a really tricky compound to defend, as there's a large number of players all trying to move in, and they're pretty aware of that compound. As you can see, Inspector now just quickly strafing in, picking up Romeo in the process. With that, of course, players there from Spaza 6 getting sent back into the lobby, but now the teams continue to push further and further in towards the zone. Muffin picking up that knock on towards No Braino. Miyagi slowly bleeding out. Ultra down to links. Of course, we got Emma there from 4KT, also just positioned inside of that zone. Rain from hell all the way up in that northeastern side. So Madara has got quite a bit of a challenge there to make it all the way up into that zone in one single move. So I'm excited to see how this is going to go, because I mean, we've got a few teams moving in strong numbers and then a whole bunch of stragglers just scattered throughout.
Yeah, the toughest thing about this final zone or final couple of zones that we've got here is the fact that there are so many buildings and walls in the way. It is going to be tough to move through this because it's closer quarters than, you know, what we would be used to for the rest of this map. But it's also a little bit of exposed areas. You know, you jump out of a house, get into the middle of the road, you can get shot from so many different angles. I mean, even just being in a house exposes you to a couple of angles through those windows, and we've seen some players just getting sniped through there. Of course, at the moment, Rogue taking a peek out the window herself, trying to see who he's swimming in the water, and of course is going to spot Madara out there and see put a couple of shots there. Not going to find any knocks just yet, but it is coming, and certainly lots of kills are on the horizon for KT now. Of course, Ava putting in some shots towards Undisputed AE. Sahil, though, is going to shut that down. Not going to let him run ham on his team. Rez will come through, and Undisputed AE will stay and live to fight another day. 4KT, unfortunately, will have to go back to the lobby and try and reset for the next map. But it is what it is. Rain from Hell trying to survive there with a couple of Olympic-level breath-holding swims from Madara. And we'll see how long he can keep that going. No, Rogue is going to pop those shots in, get that kill, and wipe them out. 6 teams remaining at the moment. Absolutely jam-packed up in this compound. As Sincerity moving in towards Fear. Some shots coming through Not a very easy position to be in.
Yeah, I mean, looking at Sincerity at the moment, they've been holding this 2-2 split for quite some time. So far, it's been working exceptionally well for them, right? But now we need to see Sneaks and Silent rotate back up in towards zone. Fortunately for them, Rogue and Muffin has got that anchor point set up. So far, I mean, some absolutely phenomenal plays coming in here from Sincerity, but now we look to see that final play. Will they be able to secure themselves in this final zone? Only a few more teams remain. We've got 6 teams in total, 15 players still alive. So there's definitely hope. I mean, even UAE, they still need to try and find their way up into zone. They're already sitting on 10 kills, but they've got all 3 players, well, that they've got left, all still in good health, all still able to move in, handle themselves. As you can see, Sahil, they're now taking a little bit of damage. It's not the end of the world, but they need to focus on getting back into that zone. As the blue zone is now starting to close on in, there is a few obstacles for them to cross over to make a safe passage into that zone and try and find a point to fight from. But Sincerity has secured the compound, so it is definitely going to be some of that prime real estate for these teams to try and move up into.
Yeah, it's a fight for that real estate as per usual. So many teams got to squeeze themselves inside, and not everyone's going to make it. Sincerity still managing to put those shots in. The 2-2 split working out for them so far, but 2 of those players might just fall pretty soon as Fear does come up to challenge them. Shots go through, and Sincerity is losing a couple of players. Muffin and Rogue might be the last 2 remaining after this is finished, as Silent now alone and just about to get thirsted here by Fear. Of course, they've moved across the way into that blue zone, or outside of the blue zone, should I say, into the safe area. Everyone's just sort of struggling at the moment. Muffin, of course, going down there. Matrix putting those final hits in. But this is not an easy position. UAE coming up that hill, challenging. Fear and Sincerity both have each other to deal with. And now, of course, with UAE on the horizon, things are going to be that much more difficult. We got 4 teams, 11 players left alive. Matrix looking for some more shots. Kage goes down as a nice nade comes through. Sincerity getting beamed by that blue zone. Inspector goes down as he gets taken out by Lynx, and up comes Matrix to put a couple more shots in. Not going to find anything, but the smokes get popped as well for the extra cover against UAE, as Fear now have to make their advancements in towards Sincerity, who are trying to hold the compound down against 2 opponents here. Not a very easy position, but definitely not impossible. They've got a bit of an opportunity here. If they can find some pot shots in towards UAE, they could quell that threat for the time being and isolate a fight against Fear, which is definitely doable considering their current position in the zone with that cover. But it's going to have to be absolute down to the wire if they want to execute that correctly.
I mean, it's some really strong plays that we've got coming in across the board here. I mean, the players there from Fear making it up into this final zone, just perched in that eastern side of the zone, really good positioning, and they are in need of those points, so definitely stepping up their gameplay here, bringing in the action. Now, of course, they're going head-to-head with the players from UAE and Sincerity. And King and his team, they trying their utmost best to find those angles. You can see now spotting that one on towards Sahil. Easy pick up again as the split comes in, setting up that anchor point as they now start to push further up into the zone. But Matrix has also now opted into the building, making his own little dash into right there alongside them. Fear now, of course, getting picked up there by Rogue. So we've got 7 players remaining, waiting to see how this one is going to unfold. As Fear still looking strong with very decent numbers. Sincerity, of course, sitting on 2 players. And then we've got the players there coming in from UAE sitting on 1. So, man, these odds are looking pretty tough, but also looking pretty strong for the players here from Fear, dependent on how they can find or manage themselves in this competition. You can see Muffin, of course, now dropping down onto the ground floor, looking for that fight. Fear picks up Matrix as we see those heads come on through. It is now Sincerity up against the players from Fear. So it is Muffin and Rogue against the full squad. It is me, it is Hulk, it is Chris, and it is King for the team there. Let's see whether or not Fear will be able to strike Fear into the side of Sincerity, or will Muffin and Rogue clutch it out, save the day, and steal this first chicken dinner of our day. Let's see. It is going to be close. Man, just waiting to see where that zone is going to be going. But I'm liking the play, though. I mean, Rogue and Muffin chilling on the roof. They've got it easy.
Yeah, it's definitely the play here. They just need to be able to isolate those fights. If Fear make a mistake, it could be all over for them, but they're just playing it safe at the moment, healing themselves up, getting themselves ready for that final showdown. It's not going to be easy. 2v4 is definitely not the easiest spot. Decides to actually jump down. That was a mistake. Rogue immediately going down. Muffin trying to capitalize, but this might just be the end. Shots coming through, and there comes the last nail in the coffin. To take that chicken away. They decided to go for it. They decided to full send. It didn't work out, but definitely kudos for trying. Sincerity will go out in second place. Fear taking that chicken dinner with a whopping 10 kills.
Yeah, that's a really good play by Fear. And of course, you know, well deserved and also much needed. They needed these additional points, and man, did they secure them in this first match. Really, really impressed with their gameplay. But of course, now well done to Sincerity and UAE as well, just strengthening their placement. They currently have on that leaderboard city. They were before this match sitting in 7th and 9th place. But of course, I'm expecting it to be the other way around. Now, looking at the performance coming in from UAE in this match, I mean, absolutely phenomenal stuff. Finishing off on 11 kills, that was just amazing.
Dr. Sid with that mute life.
Winner chicken dinner. That winner chicken dinner. Citizens in 14th. But yeah, what can I say? Fear coming with that winner chicken dinner. Amazing play, amazing positioning, amazing rotation. I was watching that, and it just shows that in this game, you rise to the occasion and get yourself off that leaderboard. Let's take a look at what the point system looks like for today.
Yeah, of course, in the first game of Group A versus D here for today, I think this may be the second or third time they're clashing, though. Fear coming out on top, as one might expect. Those 15 placement points plus the 10 kills with a total of 25 for that one. Undisputed AE coming in second thanks to their 11 kills plus those 10 placements, giving them 21. Sincerity taking up third position, 15 points. Ultra 6 coming up fourth. Just like DK mentioned, they could definitely put some performance in, and here they've done it with that fourth spot with 14 points. Time for KT coming in fifth position with 8. Aphelion Apex in sixth with 7. Euphoric Gods with 7th position in with 5 points. Of course, Young Thundercats in 8th position with 4 points. And moving on to the second page, we've got Spaza 6 with 4 points in 9. Black Clover in 10. We've got Rain from Hell in 11. NFxUNIQUE in 12. Sidizens in 13th position. Outsiders Official in 14. A Blank Legion in 15, all with 0 points each. So, yeah, a little bit of a struggle for some of those teams, but definitely a good step up from a couple of others. And of course, it has to be Undisputed AE. Sahil taking the MVP with the 4 kills there. UAE definitely showing us the power of those kill points.
4 kills, getting his team up that leaderboard and putting the points in. This is the Umzansi Esports League Season 3, brought to you by Nordwind Gaming. As you can see, lots of action in our first matchup of tonight. We got 2 maps to go, so don't go there. Dr. Sid, DK, and Patchy will be back right after this break with some more esports action.
Welcome back to the Umzansi Esports League, powered by NFxUNIQUE Gaming. Of course, we out here with map number 2. It's coming up. We saw some spicy finishes to that Erangel map. A little bit of an interesting one coming out there. Sincerity deciding it to full send that one at the end. Definitely, it was a do or die moment. Otherwise, I suppose if they both didn't engage, then they'd just be sitting on top of a house waiting for the blue zone to kill them all, and then it's just a game of who has more meds. But there it is. It was an interesting game, and we continue with Group A versus D here. Moving, of course, into map 2, which will be Sanhok, where we usually see some crazy CQC action. Of course, heading into the leaderboard at the moment to have a look at the standings to see what is going on. DK, take us through what we are seeing here on this leaderboard.
Well, a whole bunch of names and numbers, Patchy.
What?
It's right there.
No way. That's incredible.
No, yeah. Yeah, serious. It's impressive stuff though. All right, so if we look at the leaderboard, we got the players from Guns still sitting up in pole position on 204 points. We got Temper sitting in second on 166. Slime 4KT still in third on 139. Zero Tolerance in fourth on 135. Undisputed in fifth with 128. Sincerity in sixth there with 127. Influence Rage in seventh with 119. Of course, then Aphelion Apex in 8th place with 118 points. So a nice bit of a change coming in ever so slightly as we move on to that second page. More numbers and names. We've got the players here from the Immortalz over in 9th place on 113. The Natural Killers in 10th on 103. But also then the Drogons sitting in 11th place, also on that 103 points. We've got BBC in 12th place on 102. Pain Africa in 13th on 98 points. Rain from Hell in 14th on 95. We've got Euphoric Gods in 15th on 87 points. NFxUNIQUE in 16th on 84 points. So things are starting to get a little bit hotter, but as we move on to the next page, Patchy, guess what?
What?
More numbers and names.
No ways. That's incredible.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's insane. We've got the players from Not Gaming over in 17th place on 82. We got Ultra 6 in 18th on 79 points. We got Lag Esports in 19th on 79. We've got the Rainbow Madagascar in 20th on 78. We got Fear in 21st on 76 points. Spaza 6 and 22nd on 76 points as well. Then, of course, the Outsiders in 23rd on 74. We got the Comfy Cartel in 24th on 72 points. So, yeah, this middle section of the leaderboard is looking interesting. But this last page, these are the teams, rather, that we are going to be looking at to see who will be able to make it out of the relegation. We've got the players from Black Clover up in 25th place there on 71 points. We've got Young Thunder sitting in 26th place on 70 points. Sidizens Gaming in 27th on 70 points as well. Nibble then in 28th on 51. Toxic in 29 on 25 points. And then, of course, Blank Legion in 30th there on 12 points. So it's looking pretty tough for Blank Legion, the Citizens, Young Thunder, and Black Clover. Those, of course, being some of the teams participating in today's matches. So definitely going to be looking to see whether or not they'll be able to step up and bring their A game in the 2 remaining maps. So we've got next up, of course, is going to be Sanhok. So expecting that aggression, expecting that kind of play from the teams. This is the opportunity for them now to make up on whatever they missed out on Erangel.
Yeah. Yeah, Sanhok is actually usually where we see the most upsets historically, so there's definitely a chance here, and I think if anyone needs to be able to do it, the Citizens got to pull something out of the hat here to try and get themselves up. They've actually moved up a couple of slots there towards the bottom, but it's not enough. They need to make their way out of that relegation if they want to stay irrelevant, and the same is true for literally any of the teams who want to move into the next round. Of course, the only problem is, can they pull out a miracle performance? Can they pull that out the hat at this stage of the game? You know, some people will think, you know, it's doesn't really matter at this point. You know, it's like, yeah, we get out of the relegation zone, it's cool. But right now, if you haven't pulled out your A game to try and make this happen, the amount of pressure on the shoulders to be able to pull this off is going to be absolutely insane. I mean, that's why the groups is so spread out as it is. That's why we go through the iterations every week, is because we want the teams to get in some points. You know, we want them to move forward with that. And even just get a consistent amount of points, even if it's just a medium amount or even a lowish amount. Just get yourself out of there. Get yourself into the top 24. Move on to the next round. That's really what it's about. We'll see if any of these teams can do a Pain Africa and get themselves out of there. Of course, waiting for that Sandhawk to load up before we get into the CQC. DK, you said you were looking at Ultra 6 in the previous game, and they did get some pretty decent points. I think they were in about 4th place there. Do you think we're going to be seeing them move up again in Sandhawk, or do you think somebody else is going to be stepping it up here?
Well, the opportunity is definitely there for not just them, but in fact all the teams to step up, to give that extra bit of a performance, to bring that extra bit of points in on the board. And I mean, if we look at what the teams have done in the previous, where we did see the players from Group A and Group D, playing against each other, we can kind of look to that to get an estimate of what we could be expecting moving into the next match, right? There's not a clear indication, but it could be a pretty good indication of what we could be expecting from that kind of play. So, in last week, we had the players from 4KT finishing pretty strong on the Sanok map. And of course, Rain from Hell finished up in 2nd. Sincerity finished in 3rd. Spaza in 4th. And the players from Ultra 6 finishing up in 5th place. So if that's any indication to go by, we're kind of looking at the players then again from Ultra. The same kind of teams that I was rooting for in the previous match. Again, the opportunity here for them now to step up, prove themselves, bring in those points, and of course move up that leaderboard to get out of the danger zone. That is what they need to play for, to get the heck out of danger zone. But of course, they're now already moving in with the flight path coming in there from Cow, heading over towards that western side. A very northwesterly flight path. I'm curious to see where the zone's going to be going, because I mean, we know the flight path, it doesn't matter as much on Saturday. But the zone, however, on the opposite end, that kind of does matter, as we can see it shifting down in towards the south. So not the craziest zone that we've seen, but definitely it's going to, give the teams that ability to move out, to get a little bit more aggressive and start looking for those points.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. We're going to have a look and see if any of these teams can grab those points. If it's anything to do on Sanhok, this is the map to make it happen, to get those points, to come out of the ditch, to bring a team out of the slump. I'm not too sure how many more analogies I can pull out of the hat for that particular idea, but there it is. Get yourself, like DK said, just get yourself out of there. That danger zone ain't where you want to be. Of course, running through that team list to see which teams are going to be on the screen for you here on Sanhok. Of course, we're going to be eyeing those teams. I think at this point, as we move in towards the final phases of groups, I mean, we've got, 3 weeks after this left? So it really is moving into the final stages here. The teams have less and less chances every week, and especially these particular groups. They're only going to have basically one chance or maybe another each to make this happen. So they've really got to make, the best of it, the most of it. They've got to put in as many points as they can every single round. For Dr. Sid's sanity, the Citizens, for instance, going to have to put in some chickens. Going to have to pick up some kills.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the poor man might just might just have some heart complications or something.
But I mean, looking at what we still have to come, right? So we got 3 days after today, right? 11, 12, and 13, right? This is the second last day for Group A and Group D. So whatever they can't accomplish today, whatever they can't get set up today, they only have 3 games left after this. So, I mean, this is where you would expect the teams in Group A and Group D to just bring that play, to set themselves up beautifully, just in case they can't find the necessary points next week. Just in case the pressure just becomes a little bit too much to move up in towards that next phase. Because I can tell you, Patchy, next week is going to be absolutely crazy. So instead of waiting till then, now is where the teams need to give it. Now they need to step up. They need to bring that aggression, because as you said, if they wait too long, what's the point? Like, then they're going to have, then there's more of that FOMO coming in then.
Yeah, I mean, it's a case of, sure, you could wait till the very end to full send a little bit to get yourself over that line. Because of course, you know, with the next round, point reset and all that stuff, but I mean, you're expecting a lot of yourself. You know, I mean, most teams, I think, can't like perform 100% all the time, 24/7. So it's really not realistic to expect that of your team, to expect your team to be able to full send 100%, get some chickens, get back-to-back chickens, you know, get tons of points and kills, and get themselves out of there in the last moments. I think it's definitely possible, but you should not be relying on that. Like, absolutely, that is the last-ditch attempt sort of levels here. And I think most of the teams realize that establishing themselves here is probably the best way to go, especially if you want to try things out. I think for teams like, for instance, 4KT, who are not necessarily at the slap bang top, but they're really high enough to be able to say, it doesn't really matter what we do from here on. We're most likely in the safe zone. I think they're pretty much in the green. The next 3 days, you know, after this, not really going to change all that much. They're not going to be suddenly kicked down into relegation. So they're pretty much good to go. So if they want to try any strategies or something different, you know, anything like that, they can do it. They can go, what if we do this? And they can try it out and see how it works. You know, see if it works against some of their opponents, see if they can harass anyone, see what they can get away with, because that's going to help them moving forward, you know, into the next round. They're going to be like, okay, we know what this team does in this situation. Like, if we do this, this team likes to do that, right? And then they can go ahead and plan around that, you know? So this really is sort of like a free time. If you put the work in the beginning, you buy yourself so much free time. And speaking of buying yourself something, the Citizens have bought themselves a little bit of damage in there with some Uzi shots heading in to their opponents here. A little bit of damage there in towards Ultra 6. Got to be careful. Citizens have decided to wrap around the back, so it's a bit of a split here. The team is split up, but can they put the shots in? 11 looking for them. The Citizens need to find these kills here. It is super, super important for these guys, if anyone else at this point. Ultra 6, of course, is the team that DK highlighted previously to be able to make something happen. So really, both of these teams have a lot riding on this fight right here.
Yeah, this is a very, very important fight for both these teams. So definitely looking to see who's going to come out victorious in this engagement. Will it be the Citizens bringing in some extra points there, putting a smile on Dr. Sid's face? Or would it be the players here from Ultra 6 coming in, putting in some points and putting a frown on Dr. Sid's face? Either way, there's going to be some emotion on his face. You can see Rix now getting knocked out. Link stepping up. Miyagi not being able to hold on, getting knocked out there, of course. And now, well, Miyagi is back up and at it, mastering the skill there of getting Rest right back on in. But 11 now just strays out from behind the rock, gets picked up in the process. Dammy now right there as well, also getting picked up. The Citizens, man, it is looking tough. Up comes the Potato. Let's see, what is he going to do? Will he give us a starch? Yes, indeed, he does. The players from Ultra 6 pick them up, getting those easy points. And, of course, man, what a tough game it has been so far for the players there from Citizens. But you were talking about the players there from 4KT a while back, right? Now, what's interesting to think of as well is the teams sitting at the top end of that leaderboard. They have the power now to decide who goes through to the next phase.
Yeah.
Because if they prevent any teams from acquiring any additional points, they kind of seal the fate of so many. So there's so much power in their hands. And it's kind of a swap around, you know, as we, in comparison to, let's say, the finals, where the teams on the lower end of the leaderboard have that power to control which team is the one that takes home the victory, right? So I'm curious to see exactly how these teams sitting at the lower end of the leaderboard is going to try and play. So far, we've seen Ultra 6 already stepping up, bringing a bit of aggression, bringing a bit of points in. The same, of course, can be said for Fear. But there's a few other teams still in dire need of those points, still needing to get their butts out of relegation zone. So they've got a lot of hard work left. They've got to just grind to get back up into the right page. They want to be on page 1, 2, or 3. If your name is on page 4, it's going to be tough.
Look at these lads. NFxUNIQUE going for a fishing trip, man. They're out here, they're like, we've been playing PUBG all weekend. let's get some fishing simulator up in here. And they just hit the water and they're like, let's go, boys. They just removed themselves straight out of that situation, taking a bit of a holiday off from PUBG Mobile for a moment. So we're just going to be moving on for KT, putting a couple shots in towards Young Thundercats. And actually, you were saying this just now. I mean, there's a lot of power up in players like this Hands. I mean, they could knock out anyone they want to knock out here, potentially, and really make it difficult for them to get. So what is NFxUNIQUE doing? What are these guys up to, man? They were going fishing and now they're doing a marathon for swimming. They're just like, yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
We're tired of fishing now. This is swimming simulator. This is Olympic swimming simulator. You know, we're gonna be.
You know what it is?
Mid-mile something.
You know what it is, Patrick?
Tell me, DK. What is
They
it?
want to be unique. They want to be
Okay.
unique.
I mean, they certainly
You know,
are.
it's
We've
all
never
in the
seen this
name.
before.
It's
Actually, you
yeah,
know what?
it's all in the name. Yeah.
Let me just. No one has ever done this. No one has ever done this in the history of the Umzansi Esports League. If you don't get that reference, you're too young. Now listen, NFxUNIQUE look like they're about to commit the self zone strategy, which is where you swim out as far as possible into the zone and zone yourself into the lobby. It's a high level strategy that's very difficult to execute. It takes a lot of training and focus to be able to actually pull off properly. But once you do it, man,
Months of practice.
yeah, it takes a long time. But if you can pull it off, it's absolutely insane. I mean, you basically win the whole game. You don't even have to compete in the Umzansi Esports League anymore. You just win at life.
Yep. That's like logging into the lobby and already getting the chicken dinner.
Yeah.
That's kind of the level of play that it is. That's where it's sitting at. So yeah, man, we got to be keeping a very watchful eye on that to see, of course, how that unfolds. But in the meantime, we're going to be keeping an eye on the players here from Young Thunder. They're peeking over onto the side, well, in the direction, rather, of the players there from the Outsiders, who are just outside of render for them. They can't really see them just yet. But, of course, we're going to be waiting to see exactly where these teams are going to try and rotate up into. They've got about a minute on their hands to decide how best they should rotate and where they want to rotate if they choose to do so. But of course, now we've got the players here from the Euphoric Gods also just keeping a very watchful eye, just lurking about on the top of that ridge, just moving through. And of course, as we look over towards that eastern side of the zone, we can see the players there from Rain from Hell caught in a little bit of a difficult position already. Knocks coming through on to them. But now the Euphoric Gods just scattered out, moving back and forth. Also now the players here from the Aphelion Apex team keeping a very watchful eye. Rusty doesn't look rusty at all. He seems to be pretty on point with his observations there. But now, as you can see, of course, speaking about observations, the players here from the Euphoric Gods also now trying to pick up a few hits onto the side there of the Outsiders.
Yeah, they're looking for them. Shots coming through. 4KT finding a couple of their own. In the meantime, Euphoric Gods on the back end of some of those engagements. Outsiders looking for it. They have retreated as Sheki is holding down one of the corners of the cover that they were using up at the top there. We'll see if anything more comes out of it. Zero keeping a bit of a watchful eye from this watchtower, seeing if any of the Outsiders will peek their heads through. The Euphoric Gods still chilling behind these massive rocks, making sure they're not getting taken out just yet. So there's a little bit of a line going here. There's the Aphelion Apex team right at the top of that hill. And then we've got the Outsiders in that compound just below, across the road. And then we've got the Euphoric Gods up there by the rocks. Shots flying through all the way down that line. 12 teams remaining on the board as some shots go in towards Rain from Hell. I'm not sure. Is Rain from Hell gone? Did they just get knocked out?
Possibly. But I mean, the best way to describe this line is the Aphelion Gods. You know, it's Aphelion Outsiders, then the Euphoric Gods. So, in short, it is the Aphelion Gods line that we are looking at right here. And I believe that the players there from Rain from Hell might have been sent back as we're sitting on 12 teams, 44 players. So, it is definitely a possibility. Now, one of the teams we see stepping it up once again is the players here from Ultra 6. Lynx, of course, now getting caught out in the open as Spaza pushes up on it to that position. Nice wraparound. But also we did see those knocks coming in from Ultra 6 onto the side there of the players from Fear. So definitely looking to see once again whether or not the players from Fear or Ultra 6 will be bringing yet another game like they did in the previous one.
Yeah, Spaza pushing up the hill as that blue zone is starting to move in as we head in towards zone number 3. Things are starting to pick up a little bit. The pace is quickening, as it were. We'll see. Safe spot, of course, as the zone does once again shift up. It is going to be a little bit of a tough time for anyone who starts to get caught out in the zone from here on out because, yeah, we know how much damage this thing does. And basically from this point forward, the zone moves a lot quicker and it does so much damage and you just run out of space really, really quickly. So for the sake of these teams, I really hope that they can find their way on in. We do find our friends there from NFxUNIQUE who have made their way from all the way on the other side of the planet back to the coastline there. They were going on a search for the lost island or the lost city of Atlantis, but unfortunately they didn't find it. You know, the rumor has it if you can find the lost city of Atlantis, you get a cool power bonus that gives you 1,000 chicken dinners immediately. So, yeah, they didn't find it, but now they're back to look for the chicken dinner that's available here if you win this game.
Yeah, well, they were working on their strokes, you know, definitely something that like, because you need it, because that precedes, you know, a stroke of good luck. So first you got to work on it, you got to build it up, and once you've, you know, acquired enough of it, boom, you unlock that, you know, that stroke of good luck that finds its way onto you. So maybe it could still work out for them. I would actually laugh if it did. That'd be quite entertaining to see exactly how the match then goes there for them. But in the meantime, we see the players here from UAE making their rotation up into one of these compounds. You can see, of course, now, the shots finding their way on through, and Cold just patiently waiting. Very fitting name for this time of year. But here we go. Matrix now comes rushing into the building. Cold getting up. Rusty right behind, unfortunately, but quite far away though. So I'm not sure whether or not the team will be able to provide the backup required to take on a full squad up ahead of them. But fortunately for them, both these teams are engaging in drips and drabs. Matrix now just showing us what the Matrix can bring you as he dodges, literally jumps over that grenade to avoid the damage for the time being. But of course, we got the outsiders not too far away, so they could be drawn in by the fighting. As you can see already now, there we go. Zero. Just zeroing his scope in on that position, trying to see if he can pick up any of the hits on it towards UAE as Sahil, our MVP from the previous match, now jumps into the win in absolute style. But will he be able to continue on it? They've already picked up one. Will they make it more? Well, no, they haven't picked up one just yet. All right, well, that was the Matrix then, glitching.
It happens sometimes, DK. It happens. You know, when you see a black cat and then you see the black cat again, then you know you are deep inside of that Matrix. I'll tell you who isn't though. Coco putting in those shots as Spaza come up against Ultra 6 finally to clash just a little bit. Undisputed AE at the top of the mountain here as Sincerity moving on up in that direction. Spaza have a little bit of a problem though. That blue zone coming up to bite them, and now they have to move forward, and Ultra 6 is ready to receive, putting those shots in as the rotates come through. They're in a really, really tough spot. Spaza need to be absolutely precise with their rotations here, because as soon as they expose themselves, Ultra 6 ready to collect them and add an extra point to that score. And if they're not careful, of course, the blue zone will take them out quite happily. We all know who wins the fight in the end. If it's heels versus blue, blue always wins. Remember that, ladies and gentlemen. It is always the blue zone. They will always win. The longer you stay in there, the higher the chance that you will succumb to that infinite blue abyss. So, you know, just don't tempt the fates. Just don't do it. They're going to decide to hop into those vehicles, get the rotations through, and hopefully try and make it out as soon as they can. Those HP bars looking very worryingly low, but they will make it out just in the nick of time. So at least that they are safe for now. 4KT continuing to put in the shots. So Euphoric Gods going to be on the receiving end of that. We still have 12 teams left, but those numbers are definitely going to start dropping very quickly now as we move into Zone 4 and Zone 5. Things are going to pick up, and they will not stop from here on out. Inspector putting some shots through as well, as everyone is now rushing up in towards that zone, which is looking pretty small at this point.
It is going to be pretty tough. I mean, teams 42 players remaining. It is such tough odds, but of course now, I mean, Inspector just perched up in his little building here, just tapping away down the see Coco just up ahead as well. We've seen some strong fighting coming in from Coco in past, but so far, UAE just finding the heads in towards them. As you can see, Potato now again with that starch performance, stepping up with the heads in towards Coco, picking up those heads. But the outsiders now keeping a very watchful eye on top. They are half in zone, half out zone. Now, of course, looking to see whether they can find any of those heads up ahead. Romeo looking for Juliet as Coco is slowly bleeding out. The outsiders, of course, keeping still that watchful eye, you know, deciding whether or not it's going to be worth it to put the whole team in the zone. In the meantime, we got the players from Fear now pushing up behind the players here from UAE, applying a little bit of that pressure. As you can see, King, Hulk, and Lee all now moving on in, trying to see if they can stand against UAE. Potato now sending up those nades, trying to find a little damage. Does pick up the one on towards King now. Sahil picking up one as well, going for the MVP play once again. Potato comes crashing around the corner. Fear, Hulk steps up, smashes him right back down. Now it is up to me and Hulk to make that play. Hulk now moves into King to try and get that res. Not before quickly recovering his own health. Potato now managing to sneak around the corner, right back up to his teammates, who of course now holding that position within the zone. Up comes Hulk, looking to smash it once again. Matrix now right there in front of him. Inspector also just holding on the outside of the building. Me coming in for one. Oh, Hulk picks up Inspector, picks up Sahil. What is going on? Hulk is just 3-player pickup. What? Hulk, my man.
Hulk smash, indeed. You called it. You absolutely called it. Fear.
No, you gotta say it right. You gotta Hulk smash.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm not gonna do that. But oh yeah, definitely for sure. Fear on low HP. They're gonna be juicing themselves back up. They do have to get the rotate coming through though, because of course that zone does what it does best, and it moves. And everyone's got to get back in there. You can see we've got 11 teams still on the map. They are just barely struggling through. Romeo are going to get taken out. So that's going to reduce our total to 10. So we are in our top 10 teams at the moment. Aphelion, Apex, and NFxUNIQUE have found their way in towards the zone. NF finally joining the party. We'll see how long they can stay. I definitely like their big brain strats coming through here. So hopefully they take the chicken, because after pulling that kind of stuff, you know, you deserve the chicken. You know what I'm saying? Definitely. We'll see if they can make it happen at the moment. 4KT moving into the zone as well, taking up their spot that they will be mounting one of their final stands in potentially. Fear getting hammered now as they move on through their range, looking for those shots, and indeed he will find them, just putting them in as he floats gracefully above the land. Hulk is down and the blue zone is doing the damage that it does. Miyagi putting some shots in. The outside is getting peppered as well. Sheki putting some shots in towards the links as the numbers are reduced 1 by 1. 25 players left alive. Muddy hitting the deck. Miyagi getting taken out as well. Everyone is just absolutely scrambling. The shots are coming through and they are landing. Everyone is struggling against teams, struggling against the blue zone, struggling to find their way into the safe area. Things are just looking absolutely chaotic all across the board. It is looking crazy.
Man, it is looking chaotic also, as you can see now the players here from 4KT just pushed the western side of that zone, just picking up head after head on towards Young Thunder, who now still needs to try and make their push up in towards zone. The only 2 teams currently positioned in zone. The rest of the players, however, for Sincerity, caught in a bit of a difficult spot here, as they are all the way down in the south. They need to try and get up back in towards that zone, and it's going to be a super challenging obstacle to cross and make it in one piece. But 4KT, they just chilling. They just like, you know what, it's fine. We'll just take out everybody, improve our points even more on that leaderboard. You know, make it tough to get into the zone. But now we see the players here from the NFxUNIQUE team. They're not swimming anymore. Picking up Rusty there is Rogue though. Now it makes things a little bit easier on the side here of NFxUNIQUE. Let's see whether or not they'll be able to push in, as we've got Gage now moving in, picking up a very easy spray right there. In fact, the whole squad there from Sincerity gets sent back into the lobby. Now Sincerity is right on in, waiting for the next zone, as we see the players from 4KT again continuing on with the efforts on towards Young Thunder. 5 teams now left to find it out for that chicken. And well, truth be told, the players here from NFxUNIQUE managing to find a decent position so far in this game. Again, waiting to see whether or not they'll be able to clutch it. If not, if they do, it's going to be an amazing story, not gonna lie. But now Zero, ooh, has about a 0% chance fighting things out against that blue zone, but he does, however, pick up a beautiful knock and confirm onto the side there of NFxUNIQUE. Terry now super low on health alongside the rest of his team. That nade was absolutely phenomenally placed. But now 4KT now just rolling around, just trying to clean it up as they just search at the edge of the zone. They're currently back in zone once again. NF now getting bombarded with the Utils. Terry now quickly managing to get that raise in towards this. Now let's see whether or not NF will be able to make that play. It is going to be such a tough one. They pick up one on towards Pronto. So now it is Andrew and, of course, Vex left for them to target. Left to train their scopes on. Oh, this steps up into it. Picks up Vex in the process. Will we see this coming in with a clutch on this player? He's rushing in to the rock. A bit of damage coming in. Andrew strafes right into that one. Picks up NFxUNIQUE. Now Sunny, the last remaining player here for the Euphoric Gods, trying to quickly make his play, get his bat into that zone. But of course, he is going to go up against the two remaining players coming in here from 4KT. And they are just absolutely swarming, swooping in, and stealing the chicken dinner from the hands there of the Euphoric Gods. And of course, 4KT with a very easy 11 kills in that match. Absolutely phenomenal. Euphoric Gods in second there with 1. And of course, the players from NFxUNIQUE finishing in top 3. Call me impressed. 6 kills. Well done.
I honestly think that NFxUNIQUE could have made it up a little bit higher if they hadn't been absolutely slam dunked by that brilliant nade thrown by Zero. So, yeah, a little bit unfortunate for them. But yeah, they managed to get up into that 3rd place. They got 6 kills, so definitely well played to them. And of course, the Euphoric Gods for picking up that 2nd. And of course, 4KT, as you said, easy 11 kills there in the 1st place. That chicken dinner going to them. Definitely good to see them stepping up, every now and then. So they're definitely going to make sure that they still hover around the top of that leaderboard. The question is, who is going to be the last team to step up for the evening? Because we have one game left, of course, that being on Miramar coming up. But yeah, you're going to have to wait before we get there. These teams are going to have a 5-second breather before they jump into this one again. So do not go anywhere. We will be right back with that last game after this break. Welcome back, guys. We just came out of an incredible game coming out of Sandhawk there. We saw some interesting things happening all across the board, but what we didn't see was the MVP in the standings from that last match. So let's hop straight into those just to get a quick look at what was going on from that game. Is, of course, Slime 4KT taking the #1 slot with a chicken and 11 kills with a total of 26. We got NFxUNIQUE in second place with 10 points for their placements and 6 for the kills, giving them a total of 16. Of course, we'll get to that in just a second because NFxUNIQUE, of course, used a very spicy strat to get those points. Euphoric Gods coming in third place with 13 points. We've got Aphelion Apex in fourth with 11 points. Ultra 6 in 5 with 10. Outsiders Official in sixth place with 9, as well as Fear with 9 points in seventh place. We've got Young Thundercats in 8 with 6 points coming in there. And that is, of course, your first page of that leaderboard. Sincerity making up the 9th position with 6 points. We've got 10th place Spaza 6 with 4, Undisputed AE coming in 11th with 2, Black Clover also with 2 in 12, the Citizens Raid from Hell and Blank Legion all with 0 in 13, 14, and 15 respectively. So yeah, that is of course your leaderboard for that past match there on Sandhawk, and the MVP for that, of course, coming in 4KT, it's a Pronto with 7 kills for his team. So very well played there for 4KT, stepping up just a little bit and getting some well-earned points from that one.
Yeah, 100%. What a play that was, though. I mean, a great show of dominance coming in there from 4KT once again. But, well, we are getting ready to move in towards Murmur. But before we get right, it was interesting things we saw in the match, in the previous match, right? One of which was that that play that we saw coming in there from NFxUNIQUE. All right, how would you explain that?
Yeah, well, I mean, we all have our theories, but the most prevalent one that I've seen is that it's a really special glitch. It's a speedrun glitch that you can speedrun PUBG Mobile with. And basically how you do it is you've got to get into a boat and you've got to drive the boat really fast in towards the water, as far out as possible into the great beyond. And when you get there, you dive into the abyss and you just go all the way to the bottom, right, where you meet with the sea god Dagon, who gives you a special wish. And once you sacrifice a few innocent souls to him, he gives you a teleportation beacon which takes you to Miramar. And then what you do is you use the special temper glitch where you go to the top of the mountain, right? And once you're at the top of the mountain, you've got to 360 no scope the ground, which gives you an instant squad wipe plus 10 points. And then also teleports you straight back into the middle of the zone, into a compound, so that you can, defend properly. Exactly. You got to take notes on this. It's very specific. It's a very difficult speed run strat to execute. Unfortunately, NFxUNIQUE weren't able to completely execute it, but we did see them, getting at least to the abyss, where they sacrificed only 1 soul to Dagon, and they got a couple of free points out of that, which is why they managed to make it into second place.
It makes sense now that you put it like that, like I kind of get it, but does that also then kind of, carry that over in towards Murmur, especially if you follow up a Sandhawk with the Murmur map?
If you were able to sacrifice 2 of those souls, then you might just get a couple of extra benefits. For instance, the plane, when you're in the plane, it flies you fast, and then when you jump out, you actually get rocket boots, and it flies you to wherever you want. Yeah.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah, I can see how that's a thing.
Yeah.
All right, but so I'm curious to see exactly, how NFxUNIQUE is then gonna fare on this next map, as we now, of course, get into that leaderboard. Just to remind you again of where they are and why they did the sacrifice that we saw coming in there. Is we've got the players from Gun still sitting at the top there on 204. We got we got the players from Temper rather sitting in second place on 166. 4KT in a third there on 165, 1 point behind. Of course, we got Zero Tolerance over on 135. We got Sincerity in 5 on 133. We got Undisputed AE in 6, of course, on 130. We got Aphelion Apex in 7th place on 129. Influence Rage in 8th on 119 points. So things are starting to even out a little bit on the top of the leaderboard, but as we move into the next page, it is still looking pretty hot and spicy. We see the players from the Immortalz over in 9th place, still 113. The Natural Killers in 10th, they're on 103. The Drogons also still on exactly the same spot because they're not playing today. BBC in 12th, they're on 102. We've got the players from Euphoric Gods in 13th on 100 points. Welcome to the century. Of course, the players there from NFxUNIQUE also then sitting on 100 points. In 14th place, we got Pain in 15. They're on 98 points. Rain from Hell in 16th with 95 points. So it's interesting to see the distribution of chicken dinners on that second page. But the third page, we also have some chicken dinners. One of those teams having that, of course, being the players from Ultra 6 in 17th place on 89 points. We've got Fear in 18th on 85 points. I can't count. And we got the players there from the Outsiders Officials in 19th, of course, on 83 points. We got Not Gaming in 20th on 82. Spaza in 21st on 80 points. We got Lag in 22nd on 79. Rainbow 6. Madagascar in 23rd on 78 points. And then, of course, Young Thunder over in 24th position. We got Black Clovers, the players from Cartel, the Citizens Gaming, Nibble Esports, Toxic Esports, and Blank Legion all sitting in the relegation zone from 25th down to 30th. You can see the point distribution there. It is a little bit higher with regards to the Citizens and Black Clover. I mean, Cartel, we're not seeing them here today, but of course, you know, there is still that opportunity for the teams on that lower end of the leaderboard to put up a strong, decent performance and move themselves out of that relegation zone. Or just try to at least, you know, solidify an angle in that region. Of course, one of the maps that they can do that on, or potentially try, is right here on Miramar. This is a very decent flight path. Of course, you can see it is coming in from Ruins and heading straight over towards the south of Los Leon. So, a decent flight path. Good potential for the drop locations for the teams. But, of course, we're going to be looking to see what that zone is going to be bringing us.
Yeah, we're going to have a look and see, of course, no rocket boots in sight for NF. So, of course, they didn't make it all that far in the ritual in the previous map. But it is what it is. They're going to be heading down in towards that map. Everyone getting their drops. It's a pretty decent flight path, actually. Not too strenuous for any one of these teams. They're going to be able to drop wherever they want to go. I really hope that we see some nice shots and fights coming out a little bit earlier on. It is a little bit of a bigger map, so the teams do have to make things happen. They do have to actually actively participate if they want to get those kills or want to get those knocks. It looks like Rain from Hell are very much alone up in the top left corner there, so they're pretty much just sitting pretty for quite some time. The rotations are going to have to come in from the southeastern positions, where a lot of those will be coming from. A lot of those players have dropped, so we'll see. I'm hoping that we see some action off the beginning, but I don't expect that it will. To hope.
Well, I mean, like, this is a big brain play coming in here. I mean, Rain from Hell dropping all the way up in that northwestern region, the first team off the plane, the first team on the map. I mean, fortunately, they're right there alongside the zone, so they can just pretty much chill, like, until zone, I don't know, maybe zone 4. All depends on where the zone shifts, but for this whole entire shift, this whole entire phase, they can just take their time, you know, just patiently wait things out all the way up in this northwestern side to see exactly where the teams, or if anyone, in fact, would try to venture that far up in towards the northwestern regions. But now, as we look over towards the players here from Ultra 6, they're now, of course, just right here over in towards the crater, right there on the edge, just about to rotate on out. So, really looking to see where the teams are going to go. We have that very western flight path, or very western zone, rather. So I'm curious to see where the teams are going to try and rotate up into, because we also didn't see anyone positioned in El Paso.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. 11 looks like he's in a bit of a bad situation, and, well, he's just going to say goodbye, actually. Nothing to do really there. Spaza are going to pick it up for free, and Citizens seem to be split, and also not really all that active. I'm not too sure what it is that they're doing, but they are not together whatsoever. They're not even playing as a unit. It seems a little bit unfortunate in that regard, that they've lost players so quickly as well. Maybe they've just given up, DK. It's a sad sight, man.
we don't really know just yet. I mean, maybe the PUBG gods looked at them and said, you know, like, you didn't make that sacrifice like NFxUNIQUE did, so maybe, you know,
Yeah.
maybe. You know, we never know. We never know. Maybe it was just, I don't know, Rick maybe put one too many Ks in his name. Like, it could be anything, Batchy. Could
Yeah.
literally be anything. But, of course, the players here from Spaza 6 right there alongside them, applying that pressure. It's going to be interesting to see whether or not the Citizens come out of this one in one piece. They've already lost one man, and I mean, Spaza, they look hungry for kills.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, with the players being so separated as well, if Spaza goes hunting, they could very easily take this entire squad one by one, which would not be all that great, especially since, you know, the Citizens are in an okay position in terms of they're actually not all that far off from being able to get themselves out of relegation. The teams above them don't have that many points over top of them. So really, a good squad wipe or a good fight or even a really good placement in this map alone could potentially propel them out of the relegation. We saw it happen with Pain. It's possible. And, you know, you want to try and give yourself as many opportunities to do that as you can, you know, and losing that player straight off the bat there is really going to injure their possibilities of making that happen. It's not impossible. It's, you know, still 3 men strong. You can make things happen. If you can get yourself out of the situation, you can reset, maybe try something else. But if they can keep themselves alive, if they can get out of this engagement alive, that'll be a big start to potentially getting themselves into a better position in this map.
Yeah, well, I mean, last time that they played against these exact same teams on this exact same map, all right? Citizens finished in 9th place. So that is not the worst place to be in. So there is hope, just based on what we've seen, you know, historically speaking. But of course, now, you know, that has a factor, but it doesn't say much about what is happening right now. And of course, Rick positioned up on the top here. This could be an advantageous angle. As you can see, Potato also right there alongside them, just providing that additional information. So it's a good strat that they've got. But now we look to see whether or not they can capitalize on that and make it work in their favor, because they do have a nice position over towards the west. And I mean, yes, we have Spaza down below, but if they play their odds well, they could really benefit from this.
Yeah, certainly could. So we'll wait. We'll see what happens. We'll wait to see what pans out. Of course, we are looking at a little bit of a slower start to the map. The teams just positioning, getting themselves looted up, getting themselves kitted out, ready to take on the rest of the game. I'm wondering to see if we'll actually spot out any teams taking the high ground like we saw Temper do the other week or the other day. They got a very interesting method of getting to the top of one of the tallest mountains in this entire map and actually just bothering everyone from the top of it as they do. Waiting to see if anyone's going to maybe take a page out of that book. So far, I haven't really seen anything just yet. No engagements. We still have 15 teams, 55 players. Everyone is just making sure that they get through this alive. Specifically, Spaza, who is trying to keep their attention turned towards the Citizens while also moving around in that blue zone, which has, of course, moved up over them.
Yeah, it's going to be a tricky one. I mean, as we can see, of course, that zone is almost 2 kilometers away. So what would be a good play for the Citizens there if they had blown up the other vehicles?
Yeah.
That would be like boss level play. You know, like, all right, we're taking the only vehicle here. Now you got to run. That's kind of it. But yeah, of course, we'll look to see whether or not the players there from Spaza will be able to make that rotation. But in the meantime, we move up in towards Miyagi and Ko here for Ultra 6 to look and see what it is that they themselves are going to be doing. We see that blue zone is closing in. They are currently within the zone. Now, Lynx, of course, just getting into that vehicle. Not quite sure where they're going. All right, so they are refueling it. They do plan to rotate elsewhere. So definitely waiting to see exactly how they are going to try and execute their rotation, as there's so many options for them to actually try and move up into. And of course, that can be said for, you know, all the other teams in this lobby. So really curious to see exactly what those rotations are going to be bringing, what positional play these teams are going to try and go for, as we see the Outsiders also right here, just south there of the water treatment. So this, again, could be a strong compound to take, depending on where the next phase goes.
Yeah, Certainly have a look at sidizens taking their first dip out of that one. That engagement happening all the way on the other side there. Of course, Potato going to be hitting the deck as well as Potato puts those shots into him. So it's the Potato versus the Potato. And of course, unfortunately, the professional Potato losing to the regular Potato.
It's a starch performance. What can I say? It's just one of those things, you know.
Yes.
Like we saw the starch performance in the previous match, and now of course you know that big blue zone swooping on in, claiming the life of Rick Dammy. Now still on the, just realizing what a trip this is to make it up into that zone. It is not easy by any measure, as we know. The blue zone just gets absolutely brutal. And now also with that clock slowly ticking away, if they're not able to find themselves in the clear before that clock kind of hits 0, it is going to be an absolute bloodbath to get back securely into that zone. I'm hoping that Dammy has got meds for days, because this is going to be a tricky one. We see 15 there, and of course 1 boost. But is that going to be enough though?
Well, I'm sure they're hoping it is. Their fingers are definitely crossed on that one. Rick does go down as the sidizens take quite a few L's on that side. We've got Black Clover right up ahead of the Ultra 6 team. Mullins keeping his crosshairs trained over in that direction to see if he can catch any of those players out. Not going to be able to for the time being, but the intent is certainly there. And he's got a pretty good angle to utilize. High also just up here, taking a look at seeing if he could spot any cheeky peeks out for the time being. No one has exposed themselves just yet. Black Clover still alive. And, well, as you can see on the map there, of course, all the teams making their way on in. There's not too many of them. Spaza, of course, being the furthest away. The sidizens and UAE, actually, all the way towards the east there. Undisputed AE could potentially put a couple of hits into their Dammy, just managing to make it across that line. So we'll be alive for the time being. Fear also making the rotate in from the north. The rest of the teams coalescing in towards the middle of that zone. We've got Mullins taking a little bit of damage as he tries to return fire on towards Black Clover. We'll see who wins these skirmishes as they continue.
It's definitely going to be an interesting one, because, I mean, if we look at this historically speaking, we did see Ultra 6, you know, clutching the chicken dinner the previous time they were up against the players, you know, these exact same teams on this exact map. So definitely looking to see whether or not Ultra 6 will be able to do it once again, whether they'll be able to continue with that momentum. But I mean, High just patiently sitting here, tapping away at them very casually, just, you know, reminding them that they are not in the clear just yet, just making it so difficult for Mullins to find those angles on towards them. And of course, you know, you can see everybody, they're just chilling. Hamodi also right there to provide some support to his teammate High. And I mean, it's going to be a tough fight for Black Clovers. They're only on a 2-man team. And I mean, it's also not looking too great for them with regards to points. They are just 1 away. So if they can find 1, maybe 2 kills, aside from placement points, just those 2 kills, it could be just enough to save their butt in today's matches. But of course, now there is quite a bit of time still to go. We still have 15 teams in play, as we got the players here from Rain from Hell now venturing up in towards that zone. We can see the blue zone about to start moving up once again. The zone shifting just a little bit further on towards the east once again. But there we go. Dammy picks up a kill in the kill feed. Well done. Something is starting to happen, but now let's see whether or not they'll be able to continue. Oh, Young Thunder now just up ahead there, as you can see. Rain now venturing further up in towards the zone, coming in from the northwestern side. Quite a bit of the ground still to cover, quite a bit of options still for them to move up into. We also see the players there from Aphelion Apex just in the background. So yeah, definitely expecting some interesting rotations to come in from the teams. And Dammy just sticking it to it, but of course gets picked up by the Potato. Down he goes back into the lobby, left to fight the final 3 days. The final 3 games, rather, for the players there from sidizens. But I mean, this zone, it's going to be tough. I mean, NFxUNIQUE already in a decent angle there. Pretty good setup that they've got on those hills just south there of San Martin. But of course, we wait to see whether or not they'll be able to defend it. I mean, they can get third-partied very easily, especially with the position of the players there from 4KT. If they move a little bit further north, trying to get into that center zone, it's quite a bit of pressure then on the players there from NF. But now looking towards the western side, we see Sincerity and the players there from Young Thunder now exchanging a few shots between each other. Up in the north, the players here from Ultra 6 still just keeping a watchful eye on the region, not venturing out of it just yet. Of course, Pablo picks up Aimer with the vehicle. That is, so if you don't want to use any of your ammo, but this is where things could potentially get a little bit tough for the players here from Young Thunder.
Yeah, could certainly do that. They are on the cusp of that blue zone for the time being. 4KT taking a little bit of damage, putting in some good nades towards Hunter. In the meantime, Sincerity making that rotate away from the situation. And then back straight into it as try and take on the Young Thundercats. Shots go straight on in. Adonis puts the hits in towards Rogan now, making the rotate on towards the back. I'm not sure if Sincerity is even ready for this at this point. They've got a knock. They're trying to make something happen. 4KT also getting some shots in, and of course, Fex doing the heavy lifting here, putting those shots in. Rogue is down for the time being as God Gaming get taken down by 4KT. And Thundercats also trying to make a move. Here's Fex continuing to put those shots in, but he has just made sure and short work of all of the surrounding players there. So some very good shots coming through. The Young Thundercats, of course, still out here taking a bit of a play against Sincerity. Sincerity, their movements was very much halted as they came up towards that compound to try and challenge the Young Thundercats, who have managed to keep the place relatively defended at this point, or at least their particular position in the compound. Can they take Sincerity out is the question. That blue zone, of course, moving on up, closing in, and we're going to have to wait and see what happens in this particular area. And of course, just going back to the Citizens, they're going to have a really tough time in their upcoming 3 games at the end of the group stages, because they're going to be going up against a group that has G3 Temper in it. So they have a bit of an uphill battle if they want to get out of relegation. At this point, it's it's difficult, but it is true. That's what they're going to be facing down. And well, same is going to be true for a lot of these teams if they don't make it up out of that relegation zone. Everyone's, of course, going to be fighting for it. Black Clover taking a bit of damage. There's Rain from Hell, puts them in. So we'll see. The zone has shifted up once again as we head in towards zone 4. Things are going to start heating up super, super quick.
Yeah, I mean, of course, that is kind of expected on the Miramar map. You know, we're expecting for things to heat up, but now we wait to see still as the players here from Young Thunder are starting their rotation, heading in the direction there of zone. We've got a few seconds left on the clock, and this could be a tricky one for the players from Sincerity. If they are not able to find a good position or good entry point into that zone, it's going to be tough. But of course, now we're looking over towards players here from Fear as they too are making their rotations through the zone, heading for that western front. So curious to see where they're going to be going and how they're going to step up in this game. They've been really strong in their performance today, really impressed with what they've been doing today. But now, of course, we look to see whether or not that momentum is there, whether or not they'll be able to keep that up and keep trucking forward as they move into those later phases. In the meantime, we see the players here from Spaza, of course, now just challenging the team from 4KT down in the southern reaches of the zone. But they need to be careful because they're not the only 2 teams here. We've got another team just positioned right there on top of them. That, of course, being Blank Legion. And now Sincerity is also moving in. So if Coco is not really too careful, he could see himself getting picked up by any of the players in the vicinity. And that, of course, goes for the rest of the squad there from Spaza.
Yep, certainly does. 4KT in a pretty decent position here for catching some of the surrounding shots. Shylock putting in a good shot in towards Kage, so that's a little bit of feels bad man for him. Andrew sitting up on the top of this mountain, looking to see if he can find any picks. We saw a quick flash of Zero from Feeling Apex, the man of the hour, putting in some grenades in the previous game to really stop the plans of NFxUNIQUE short. So we'll see if they can make something happen once again as they hold up this compound towards the end of the zone. And that blue zone is slowly going to make its way in. We've got Rain from Hell just on the cusp at the end of this one as well. Looking in towards Aphelion Apex, we'll see if the Black Clover team, the Aphelion Apex team, and the Rain from Hell team will be able to contend with one another in such close proximity. Of course, that blue zone is squeezing everyone closer in and just forcing them to have to contend with one another. Kage are going to be taken down as that play zone comes through, and no chance of reses anywhere in sight for them. We've got 13 teams still left on the board, 40 players left alive, and as we head in towards the 5th zone, I think we're going to find ourselves running out of space really, really quickly. And these teams, they're going to have to put the pain in or head back to the lobby.
Yeah, I mean, either way, it is going to be quite the challenge to play in the zone. As you can see now, Zero, again, getting caught on the wrong side of the blue. We got Rain from Hell now just setting themselves up on the edge here. That zone just shifting a little bit down over towards the southeastern side from this position. So definitely looking to see how the teams are going to try and play this one and get their butts back up into a zone. This is, of course, now heading up in towards that 5th phase. The zone doesn't wait a lot, or doesn't wait around for very long. As you can see, only a few short seconds on that clock. But of course, now Young Thunder taking up this position on the western side of zone. Quite a few teams still spread out in front of them, and we've got the players there, of course, from NFxUNIQUE, positioned inside the zone, still looking fairly decent. But now we wait to see how they are going to play that one. There's so many teams vying for that angle, trying to apply the pressure, trying to sneak up in there, challenge them for their spot. And of course, we're expecting quite a bit of chaos to erupt across the borders. All these teams now start moving in, looking to make those plays. You see that quickly now coming to line as well. And here we go. John, oh, this is Jin, sorry, putting the shots right over. Try and see if he can pick up anything in the process. But the blue zone is starting to move on in. Jin now needs to jump out and get running. As you can see, the southern part of the zone is where the action is gonna be. We got the players from Fear moving in. We got Spaza up ahead. We got Sincerity. We got 4KT, and of course, just up in front of them, up into the north, is the players there from NFxUNIQUE. So quite a bit of potential awaits these teams. Such a big amount of pressure now starting to mount as the teams are getting closer and closer together. As you mentioned, running out of that space in the zone. And man, this is going to be absolutely chaotic for a lot of these teams.
Yeah, certainly will be. You can see how closely packed all of these teams are at the moment. So many spread out across the perimeter of the zone at the moment. It is anyone's guess who's going to be the next team to head back into the lobby. 4KT trying to mount a little bit of a defense here, as a lot of teams are searching for those kills. Up they come, looking towards Spaza. Let's see if Spaza can mount a decent defense here. The shots are coming through. 4KT is looking for them, not having found anything just yet. NFxUNIQUE putting some shots in towards the Black Clover. 4KT still on the hunt. No one's ready to overextend though. Nobody wants to go the extra mile. Up comes Coco, puts the shots in, but down he goes immediately. The shots just absolutely flying through. And the same is true absolutely everywhere else as well. Everyone is trying to contend with shots from every single position in the surrounding area. It's absolutely chaotic. The fight's happening all across in these valleys and these spurs, just happening all over the place. 4KT still fighting up against Spaza, and in the shots go, and down goes Spaza. So 4KT will come out on top of that one. Young Thundercats now are going up against Fear, who will hold up here on the top of that mount. Ultra 6 sitting at the bottom towards this particular compound here in the warehouse. The zone has closed on up, so it's a whole bunch small. All the teams have to make their way on in, and the shots are absolutely flying. Fear trying to put some grenades in across in towards the Young Thundercats, who are pretty much stuck. They're superior, not in a good position. The nade going to take away quite a lot of his health. And that might just be the end of him. If he decides to run out of there, he's basically going to get taken down immediately. And indeed, he is just not in a great position. Abomination also very low on HP as the shots are flying in from all over the show. Rain from Hell on the one side. NFxUNIQUE also sitting on the other side. They're inside the zone at the moment. Rotations have to come through Fear as well as the Young Thundercats. The shots coming through from Ultra 6 in towards the outsiders as Ultra 6 are holed up in towards the warehouse. They also need to get their rotation through as we move into Zone 6. Things are looking very, very tough. We're down to 19 and 25 players as the rotations need to come through very, very soon. It is going to come down to the wire here for a lot of these teams. Shots coming through from Andrew, puts them in towards Sneaks, and down goes Sincerity. 8 teams remaining. Into the cars they jump, around they go. Rotations coming through, the shots flying in just as quickly. It is such a tough spot to be in, but they know they just have to go. It's down to instinct, it's down to reaction, it's down to those small moments just coming through. Zist getting a knock and immediately getting knocked in response. The shots coming through, the outside is getting hit. Ultra 6 getting hit in response as well. Everyone is just struggling to stay alive at this point.
Man, we just see those numbers dropping like flies, one after the other, player after player, shot after shot. And of course, no surprise, looking at how packed the zone is. But we have the players from Fear positioned down in the south. We got the players from Young Thunder also just positioned over towards the western side. We got the team there from NFxUNIQUE just there, smack dab center zone. So again, if they hold on to the compound, this could be the game for them. But it is going to be quite the challenge. They've already picked up 8 kills into this game. So really off to a really strong match so far. But now, as you can see, Chris trying to put in the spray, getting picked up in the process. Fear now continuing to make their play from down in the south. Hulk and Umi, the 2 other players for the Fear team. So, I mean, Chris is at least not alone as he now gets rest on up. They need to now continue their push moving forward. Young Thunder just holding on the edge of that zone while the fights erupt over on the western side. Me getting picked up once again as we see NFxUNIQUE rather, putting the heads up into the side there of them. FaZe now keeping a very watchful eye. Page now keeping an angle there on the Young Thunder. But they are in a very compromising position. See now also in the kill feed. 4KT stepping it up just a little bit further onto the side. They Fear finding those angles as they try to move on in. But of course, 4KT Pronto just stepping it up once again. Our MVP from the previous match showing us just what it takes to be an MVP. What kind of play you need to put on in already. 4KT sitting on 8 kills. 4 teams now remain as we see the players there from the outsiders just quickly biting the bullet down. They go. This is where things are going to be so tough. Of course, NFxUNIQUE, Young Thunder. We've got the players coming in there as well now from 4KT. And who's the 4th team? There's one team that we can't see. Oh, that is Sin from UAE. Just barely in the zone. Just holding up over on towards that northeastern side. But here we go. Keish now stepping up, picks the kill up on Adonis. Now let's see whether or not they'll be able to wrap it up as the players from Young Thunder are just down below. The last remaining hopeful, I think that is. Yes, Superior down below. Sends a nade up top, trying to pick a little bit of damage into the side there of Keish. But Keish now is just patiently waiting, looking for that opportunity. Oh, so many crazy hits coming in. Keish now just absolutely relentless in his efforts, looking to pick up that kill. But of course, now he's been focusing so much on that one single player that the rest of his team now are in dire need of a rest. They need some meds, they need some help. And it might be a pretty tough one for NF as they're now sitting on 2 players. You can see Keish and FaZe, the 2 remaining hopefuls there. 4KT also sitting on a 2-man team. And Sin from UAE now just trying to get ahead of that blue zone as he rotates up in the north. The shots come in from Andrew, taking quite a bit of damage. I think Sin has pretty much got only 1 health left. Andrew now just making sure that no one else is trying to get out of that compound as the final 4 teams, the final 6 players are now snaking it out. Sending up the smokes, trying to make it last as long as they can. Now we're going to see also where that zone is going to be taking us. That 8th phase as we now wrap up the 7th one. You can see the blue zone just about to stop closing in. Oh, FaZe gets picked up. We got Keish now just huddling up into the compound alongside his teammate. But the shots come in. Sin gets picked on up. 3 teams now remain. It is Young Thunder. It is 4KT. And it is NFxUNIQUE. Well, again, we see NFxUNIQUE in the top 3. We also see 4KT again in the top 3. But now also with the addition there of the player Young Thunder. Superior, just patiently waiting. He is in zone. No need to rotate up just yet. Just waiting to see what the zone is going to bring. And if the players from 4KT and NFxUNIQUE are going to be fighting it out, just wrapping it up and making it so easy to swoop in. Also waiting for that third-party opportunity. So many things can still happen in the zone. As we can see Keish now trying to figure out what would be the best approach. 4KT, on the other hand, though, they need to still push up in towards that zone. As you can see, Andrew not in it just yet, but of course Keish now patiently waiting for him to try and move out so he can pick up that kill, send those shots over as Bronze now just rotates up onto that vehicle. Really nice maneuver coming in there. Keish now having to fall back. Oh, but of course Superior sends up an absolutely amazing zone. Now deciding to pounce on the players here from 4KT, but up they come. Jump shots is the name. Oh, what a way to seal the deal, claim that chicken dinner. 4KT, Patchy, 4KT added once again, picking up 13 kills.
Wow. That was, that was a bit of a jumping match towards the end there, but certainly quite a chaotic final couple of zones there. Really crazy. Very well done to 4KT for being able to pick up the win on all of those kills. Of course, Young Thundercats in that second place. Also a well done job to stay alive for that long. NFxUNIQUE getting in that third place with quite a considerable number of kills for themselves as well. So, yeah, ultimately a really good performance there coming out from NFxUNIQUE overall. They're just bolstering some of their points on that leaderboard. 4KT are doing the same, trying to keep themselves up towards the top there. Unfortunately, for teams like the Citizens, not really getting what they were looking for here today in these games. And of course, the only chance that they, as a team, will be getting is at the end of the group stages up against teams, as I mentioned, like G3 no less. So it's going to be a little bit of a tough one. But at least there is a shining sliver of hope potential that could be there. So yeah, it's not hopeless just yet, but certainly going to be a tough one.
Yeah, I gotta say though, I am pretty impressed with the gameplay that we had coming in from the players from Fear, and of course the players coming in there from Ultra 6. And if we look at the overall standings for this match in particular, we got Slime 4KT sitting up in pole position. No surprise, 28 points. We got NFxUNIQUE in second on 23. Both teams coming in with 13 kills apiece. Really impressive gameplay. And of course, Young Thunder taking third place there with a grand total of 14 points. Undisputed AE finishing in fourth with 11. We got the Outsiders, of course, then in fifth place, finishing up on 8 kills. We got Fear in sixth place with 7 points. Spaza 6 finishing up in seventh there with 4 points. And also on 4 points, we see the players from Ultra 6. So really stronger players that we've had coming in from some of the teams here. That, of course, being the players like Ultra 6 and Fear. Really stepping it up, trying to get themselves out of that danger zone. And well, it seems like that sacrifice that NFxUNIQUE did in, in Sanhok kind of worked out for them again for the second match. And now, as we move on to the third page, Rain from Hell right there in 9th place on 3. We got Sincerity in 10th on 3 as well. Euphoric Gods taking 11th with 3 points. Aphelion Apex in 12th on 2. Black Clover in 13th on 1. Citizens in 14th on 1. Of course, Blank Legion not managing to bring in any points in 15th place. So definitely, Patchy, it seems like that whole thing that you described, just worked out phenomenally well, as we see Zist even coming in on the MVP there. 8 kills. Yeah, I think they maybe did 1.5 on Sanhok, Patchy.
Yeah, I think so. That does seem to be the case here. They've the data doesn't lie. Second place, lots of kills, got the MVP. It's right there. The evidence is before you. Wake up, as they say. And the other thing we're going to be waking up to is that overall leaderboard, where we can see the change in points thanks to these games that we have witnessed here today. Gun, of course, still on top, 204 points, going to be tough to beat. But for KT, certainly trying at least. 193 points is going to be their score. Of course, G3 Temp in third place. They're going to have a chance to try and reclaim that top spot very, very soon. Undisputed AE in fourth with 141. Sincerity coming in that fifth position with 136. Zero Tolerance Skills in sixth with 135. And Aphelion Apex in seventh with 131. NFxUNIQUE, of course, claiming that eighth spot with 123. Look at that. Once again, the data doesn't lie. 1, 2, 3. Is that a coincidence? I don't think so, DK. I don't think so. Infants Rage Africa coming in that 9th position for 119 points. The Immortalz trading in that 10th spot, 113. Euphoric Gods in 11th position with 103, as well as the Natural Heroes with 103 in 12th. The Drogons taking up that 13th spot with 103 themselves. BBC 102 in 14th. Pain Africa in that 15th position with 98. Rain from Hell in 16 with 98 as well. So, a little bit of a slide down for Pain, but they're certainly safe for the time being. They've done the work necessary to get themselves out of that relegation zone. This, of course, is being the final page of the safe teams for the time being. Ultra 6 heading that one up in 17th with 93 points. Fear in 18 with 92 points. Outsiders Official in 19 with 91 points. Young Thundercats in 20th position with those 90 points. Spaza 6, 21 with 84 points. Not Gaming in the 22nd position with 82. Lag in the 23rd position with 79. And, of course, Rainbow Six Madagascar heading up 24th in slot in 78 points. And that's the last safe team. These teams right here are in the hot seat. Of course, Black Clover in 25 with 74. The Comfy Cartel, 72 and 26. Citizens Gaming in 27 with 71, Nibble Esports in 28 with 51, Toxic 29 with 25, and Black Legion in 30 with 12 still. These teams really have had a tough time of it. We've seen some impressive performances from a couple of them here and there, a little bit of that shining light in the dark, but it's just not enough, especially with shining gems like 4KT, like Gun, like G3 Temper. I mean, they're really just sitting at the top of that leaderboard and really hammering it home, pulling some crazy stuff. There is still a chance, but with every single day that passes, you know, that chance gets smaller and smaller.
Yeah, it's quite tough. I mean, maybe they just need to reach out to the players from NFxUNIQUE and ask them, you know, the exact procedure, the one that you explained a little bit earlier. You know, it was going so fast, I couldn't write everything down, so definitely we'll look to, you know, hit up the players there from NFxUNIQUE just to find out exactly what they did, you know, the whole procedure, because it really paid off there for them today. I mean, the PUBG gods, of course, smiling on them, and, you know, just making things a little bit easier. But I definitely got to say, I am impressed with the gameplay coming in from the players from Fear. I am impressed with the play coming in from Ultra 6. And it's a little bit sad, though, to see that Blank Legion wasn't able to pick up any points. But, of course, you know, they've got 3 games left. 3 matches remain. It is, however, going to be a pretty tough one next up. That, of course, is going to be happening on next weekend when we see the teams going through the final 3 days for the first round. So whoever doesn't make it in, that is pretty much it. You know, we're going to have a pretty good idea who we're going to be seeing moving through to that next phase. So, yeah, definitely gotta wait to see what the teams are going to be doing. And hopefully they do their preparations. Hopefully they assess their gameplay from this weekend to see where the problems lie and what areas they need to work on and how they could potentially improve that before getting into next week's games.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And speaking of next week's games, we're going to be right back next week at the same time, Friday to Sunday, with the same action, the PUBG Mobile, to be had. So thank you so much, guys, for joining us. This is still the Nodwin Gaming Umzansi Esports League. It's your boy Patchy and DK, of course, bringing you all that action. Dr. Sid, unfortunately, not here to end us off, but you will see him back next time. So thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Be here next time. And, well, cheers and peace.